Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me right now, Jeff? For the first time ever? No? You can't hear me, can you? No, because it's the same for the last, month now. Yeah. Let's just get the quick restart right off the rip.
I'm here.
Now you can hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. All right.
I don't know why it does that, but it does that.
It's weird that just restarting your Discord magically fixes it. That's very weird. All right, can we get your camera back, though?
Oh, shit.
There we go. Now we're talking. There we go, and I can press that button, and then I can press this button over here, and we are back to normal. I just remembered that I haven't changed the patch notes thing on the stream overlay in I don't even know how. It's got to be like 2 months, and it's just had the same question, but why male models? And it's been there for 2 straight months. Yeah,
it's all right. We're gonna do a nice revamp soon. So
yeah,
it's coming.
Soon is a very it's a malleable word.
It's a relative term.
It's very relative, but soon enough, we'll put the enough on the side of that for sure. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, September the 13th, 2018. It's another Technical Alpha podcast, and it was looking like it was going to be a really thin day, and it's probably still going to be, because I don't know how much of this we'll even be able to really expand upon. But until the Nintendo Direct just popped up like an hour before this podcast, there wasn't really a hell of a lot to go on. So we were saved by the Nippon gods themselves. They came on down from on high after that typhoon had hit, and we got our Nintendo Direct. And remember last week we talked about some of the leaked stuff of what may or may not have been showing up, and so we'll get a chance to see, what actually showed up and what didn't show up here in the not too distant future. But before we get to that, Mr. Black, how was your week? Anything exciting?
Nothing overly exciting. Same old same.
Yeah.
It's literally the same old same.
Yeah, no just child yet, so
no, none of that stuff yet.
One of the you know what's crazy? Think about this. There's going to be a week that we start this podcast and I say, "How was your week?" and your response is going to be, "I had a child."
Yeah. Assuming everything goes to plan, we got the big testing on the 26th where we find out, if everything is safe and everything is good, kosher. So we're really, I know she's pumped. I'm excited too. But I'm trying to curb my expectations until there's
after that date.
I'm not buying any stuff. I'm not I'm not doing none of that just because you just never know, right? So, but fingers crossed, everything is good, and we'll pretty much be through the worst of it towards the end of this month.
Right. Exactly.
And then we'll go from there.
Playing a big game of red light, green light.
That's what it is. It's literally it. But yeah, one of these weeks I'm going to say, yeah, I had a kid. it's
going to be quite something. Actually, it'll probably sound more like, I had a kid.
I'm tired.
I haven't slept in 5 days. It's good. I'm waiting for that. Just dead yeah. Jeff. Bags under his eyes. Suddenly addicted to coffee.
It's gonna happen.
Light bouts of cocaine, just to keep it going. My week was a little mini vacation.
Yeah, you were gone away.
I got to get away down to the only place I really vacationed. It's the homesteads, the family home. Went down with Gabs and Mom and Dad, who vacation once every 10 years. And so, they got a chance to get out. More specifically, Mom got a chance to get out. Dad's been going down to the house, on and off to take care of it, and been there a day, for a few days doing work at a time. But Mom got a chance to get out because we had one of my aunts taking care of Nan. And so that was nice. We got down. We went to Mom really wanted to go to the zoo, and so we stopped in on the zoo on the way through. And Gabs, of course, is an animal lover. Mom's easy to please. Mom sees a horse, it's done. She'd go home. All she needs to do is see a horse. She grew up on a farm, so all she needs to see is like a horse, which is like the most pedestrian ass animal, and she's just over the moon, super excited. So, needless to say, it was a resounding success. It was fantastic weather the whole time we were there, and it was just like perfect up until the last day. It was which something had to go wrong because everything was just absolutely perfect. The weather was perfect, just good food, great times. Get over to the beach, walked along the coastline when the tide was all the way out, found like this little inlet with a bunch of sea glass, and not everyone knows what the hell that even means, but basically it's, the ocean's full of shit. And sea glass is basically from bottles and other glass things that have found their way into the ocean, and it washes up on shore, and then the broken bits, and then the sand over time like kind of smooths out the glass, and it turns into this. You probably see it for sale in like Pier 1 or some other knick-knacky store for $5,000 for 4 pieces when it's just shit that washes up on a beach. But there are certain colors of glass that are really hard to find now because they don't make bottles or anything in that color, like cobalt blue. They haven't really, and like the color of, remember the Vicks bottles used to be in, they might still be in cobalt blue, but they might be plastic instead of glass now. So we found a whack of this blue over at this little nook. The main beach was picked fucking clean for years now. I mean, every now and then you get like some pedestrian ass white or green glass from beer bottles, but you didn't get anything fancy like amber or blue. We found some blue. That was pretty fun. And then we turned around as we're leaving, and I was hearing this noise, this clapping sound, like this, with like, I don't know, erratically. And I look out the corner of my eye, and fucking whales are jumping out of the water, just straight up breaching out of the water, like some Free Willy shit, just fucking jumping out of the water. And then they were so far out, probably about a mile offshore, that it took like 5 to 6 seconds, and then you heard the clap of their body hitting the water. So we got to see that, and that was just fucking, it was like some weird Disney movie type shit. And then we went back and enjoyed amazing barbecued, chicken wings and drumsticks and corn on the cob and shit. It was like some picturesque shit. And then at the end of the whole thing, we were reminded that the house is like 200 fucking years old, and the plumbing just died the last day.
Rip.
It was like late in the evening. And coincidentally, the power also cut out. Somebody ran into a pole. I mean, out in the country, anyone who lives in or near the country, it's the same everywhere I've ever heard. Whether you're in the States, Canada, it doesn't matter. There's like no cops for whatever. So people just drive like complete fucking idiots out in the country. And so a lot of times the weather is perfectly fine and your power will just cut out, and it's because some jackoff is driving like 180 in a fucking truck trying to take a corner and just smashes a pole, and then the power's gone, for I don't know, 3,000 people or some shit. So the power was out, it was late, Dad was already in bed. I went to go use Gabs went to go use the washroom, and then she was like, Adam, you want to come check this out? And I went in, and the toilet bowl water was like, you know where the toilet bowl like dips in for where the water comes in? It was past that, and it was up like kissing the toilet seat. Like it was right there. If you breathed on it, the water was like, it was ready to come out on the floor. And I was like, yeah, that's not good. We should probably do something about that. So I got Dad out of bed. Dad comes downstairs, and he was like, oh, okay, sure. Great. So he gets the plunger, and he fucking went to town. I've never seen somebody, it's like Dad was taking out anger on the toilet or some shit. He was trying to kill somebody. Water was flying everywhere. He was soaked. Water was flying. The floor was just covered in water. I mean, it was clean water. There was nothing in the water, but still, it was fucking hilarious. And it wasn't doing anything. Like, the floor was moving as he's plunging this fucking toilet. And it wasn't draining. And he was like, oh, well, this is bad. Because it's obviously not in the toilet. So,
no.
When I got up the next morning, Dad was like, you know what, whatever, I'll go to bed for now, just don't, he turned the valve off of the toilet, and he said, just don't obviously fucking use that toilet. We'll worry about this tomorrow. I got a snake out in the shed. So he snaked it before we got up, and there was nothing. And so, and the water started backing up into the sinks. And so he was like, well, shit. So the guesstimate right now is that with the house this old, like some of the plumbing coming in, or the outflow anyway, is cast iron pipe. This big ass cast iron pipe. And some of it's embedded in the cellar foundation or whatever. But 25 years ago, Dad dug at where the pipes meet the foundation wall to the outside, dug it out because it had collapsed, and he had replaced with plastic out to the septic field. He's pretty sure the shit that's there just collapsed again, and now he's going to have to replace anything that isn't plastic is going to just have to get replaced with plastic. And his options were do that now or wait till spring. And he took about 5 seconds before he was like,
we'll wait till spring.
We're gonna wait till spring. So that unfortunately our vacation ended a day early because you could draw all the water you wanted, but you couldn't get rid of it. So there was nothing to be done there. So they got the house ready for winter, and Dad and I will be going down to do more of that. We got to like wrap pipes and pipe heaters and shit because there's no heat on, stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, vacation was fantastic. Got to sit out on the wharf, write a little for the book. Not actual story necessarily, because I'm still in world building mode, but I did get to sit down. I was there for like a couple hours. Gabs was fishing. She caught lots of rope and seaweed, and then eventually caught this little perch that she didn't care. She was the happiest thing alive. She just wanted to catch a fish. Didn't matter how big the fish was. So she caught that. She was over the moon. I was like, congratulations, dear. Good job. Wrote a little bit in my book. It was great. I'm definitely a 90-year-old man in a 30-year-old man's body. It's 100%. 100%. But I had a great time.
Good.
So, so that was my week. Now I'm back, and I'm brain dead already. It only took 24 hours. Brain dead, playing golf games. That golf game is still questionable. But I had nothing else to play, so I played it, and I still don't suggest spending all your money on it. Video games. Let's talk about some video games. Sure. I'm gonna get the really dry stuff right out of the way, but stuff that people might be kind of interested. Maybe you're a little interested in some of this too. NPD, which is a group that does all sorts of business studies, et cetera, on the market and whatnot, put out the study that over half of U.S. gamers own multiple platforms. So this is kind of interesting, where even though money is and things are quite expensive these days, people are still finding a way to go multi-platform. 90% of those surveyed play games on their phones, which gives you an idea of just how widespread mobile gaming is and why so many companies are dipping into that shit. 90% is a high number. That is
very high.
Unbelievably high. 52% of them are PC gamers, which is higher, surprisingly to me, higher than 43% on consoles. And that might have something to do with the fact that, at least for a time, PC parts weren't super crazy expensive, and a lot of people built gaming PCs and have been enjoying that forever now because the consoles weren't really keeping up with their price to performance ratio like they did in the, let's say, the 360 era, the PlayStation 3 era.
I think probably Twitch plays a part in that as well. I think
it's entirely possible.
The amount of people that are watching people on the internet, and it's just changed a lot over the last 5 years. It's become popular, so probably a lot of people that are getting converted. Like even though they're console players, they end up getting PCs and playing online games.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's absolutely. So that's a pretty interesting stat. A really interesting stat is only 9% surveyed used handhelds. So obviously, at least in the U.S., handhelds not a particularly popular bit. Not even. I mean, if you surveyed the 9%, I bet you pretty much every one of them is a Nintendo, 3DS.
Switch,
but although, ooh, good question. Does Switch count as a console or a handheld? Or is the answer to that? Or is the answer to that yes?
Might be both. Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah, I think it kind of has to count it both. Or they have to like specify, you know, if you own a Switch, what's the majority that you're using it in to start classifying it. Of those people surveyed, they spend around 12 hours a week of their free time, which is apparently about 12% of their weekly free time playing games. And that's around the same as pretty much all the other pastimes that they were polled on, like browsing the internet, listening to music, stuff like that. So there you go. There's your look at American gaming demographics right now, which is pretty cool. I like seeing that kind of stuff because it's kind of funky to see where the industry is headed, and it makes it ends up helping make sense of why some companies are doing the shit that they're doing. Not that we like to see most of that anyway. Nvidia. We talked about this briefly, I think, last week as well, but obviously the world is abuzz with the talk about the new 2000 series cards, the 2080 and the 20 Ti specifically. A lot of people questioning just how much of an upgrade this is over the 10 series cards, and if it's even worth, not even in the sense of like, I already have a 1080 Ti. Do I want a 2080 Ti because I have money burning a hole in my pocket? But in terms of, is it worth it for anyone to do that, or just buy the reduced price 10 series cards and fuck off with the 2000 series cards? And so Nvidia's kind of on like this press run where they're trying to convince people, guys, look, I promise you, we promise you, they're good cards, they're better than our old ones, please God, buy our new cards. And so they're going on this kind of spree. And so they came out and they said they both will, to the 2080 and 20 Ti will run current and future games at 4K 60 FPS. Of course, that's a really, really vague thing to say because I could do 4K 60 on my 980 Ti if I turn shit down. So like what is it? Are you saying on ultra? Are you saying on like high end shit? Or are you just saying that we can run 4K 60 if we, you know, turn things down to medium settings or something, at which point most people would just turn down the resolution because it's not really that worth it. But they are saying that both of them are better than the 1080 Ti at 4K, and it's supposed to be 35% faster than the 1080 Ti. Ish. But these are all such fucking, like, there's no real in-depth anything yet, and we aren't going to see any third-party websites be able to release any of this information of their own tests and stuff until what they have here, the 19th of this month. So this month, towards the end, through October and whatnot, you're going to start seeing actual benchmarks and stuff come out where you can know for sure. But right now, you're trusting Nvidia, which is a bold move, Cotton. If you're going to drop $1,200 US on a graphics card trusting Nvidia, it's a bold move. And I hope I hope for the best for your wallet if that's the case. I just don't see it being a thing. I could see it if you're on a 9 series card buying it just because it's like any other upgrade, it's going to be good. But in the past, people have been able to justify going from a high-end previous series to the next, like a 980 Ti to a 1080 Ti. I don't see this being the case with this series for some reason, but we will find out. The real shitty thing is, and we talked about this a little bit last week too, is the cost of this shit. It's crazy. All these cards are insanely expensive. Like the 900 series when it came out, the 970 was like $340 US. The 2070 is going to go for like $700. It's insane.
It's expensive. It's expensive.
It's
like
basically doubled. It's fucking doubled. Well, it was like buying an iPhone in 2017 because the new iPhone, the shit that they just announced, so if you go for the iPhone XS shit in Canada, all right, for my Canadian brethren and sisters out there, fucking buckle up, Susan. All right? $2,500 after tax and Apple Care for the $2,500. I'm going to tell you this right now, unabashedly. I don't give a fuck. If you buy a phone for $2,500 fucking dollars. I don't even care what the purpose is. If it's for starting a cool conversation when you're sitting at the fucking Denny's eating breakfast in the morning, or if you're just trying to keep up with the times so that you can play the new Elder Scrolls Skyrim wannabe rip-off fucking video game, or maybe you got Steve Nash in the back of your mind because you want to play that interesting let's go shoot free throws around the world for a bit and keep track of my basketball shot arc. You're a fucking idiot. I'm telling you this right now, and you're part of the fucking problem. No phone is worth $2,500, and it sure as shit isn't worth $2,500 every 2 fucking years. Stop making them do this. It's insane. This fucking phone was 500 Canadian in cash, and it had better fucking literally everything than the iPhone equivalent that cost 1.5 times more. Stop! Because if you don't, like I said in my tweet, all of us are gonna need to be able to take out a fucking mortgage to pay for a phone and have a co-signer that's a millionaire for a phone that isn't really a phone anymore. It's a camera. They sell you a $2,500 camera that just so happens to be able to take phone calls. So just stop. They're not even different than last year's iPhone. The fucking press images are literally the same as last year's fucking event. They just put a new background image in the press photos. It's fucking nuts. Stop it. Anyway, that's my iPhone rant. Fuck Apple and fuck everyone who spends $2,500. You're an absolute, I don't give a fuck. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. For whatever reason you buy it, you're a fucking idiot. Stop. You're part of the problem. But yes. So no longer the cost of an iPhone. Now an iPhone is actually, you could literally buy 2 Titan X cards almost for the cost of a fucking iPhone. Go fuck yourself, Apple. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's even steep. It's even steep for me. I wouldn't.
Dude, I would be so disappointed in you. Spent $2,500.
Dude, I got the 10. I got the X.
Yeah,
and it's a phenomenal phone.
Great news! You're holding literally the same phone they're now selling for $2,500.
I'll be holding this for years to come. So I'm happy.
DrDisrespect got shot at.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
2 consecutive days.
Yeah, I think the first day they didn't hit his house. There was like I don't exactly know what happened. But from what I was told is he heard gunshots, and then didn't think much of it, I guess. And then the next day,
which really, if you think about it, if my house got low-key shot at, I would be definitely thinking much about it personally.
Well, I'm sure he thought about it, but it wasn't like this big, ordeal.
It's like maybe somebody was standing out front and they got shot at, and oops, my house got caught in the crossfire. I don't like what.
And then and then the next day, I was streaming at the time, and then people came into my stream and was like, "Oh, did you hear what DrDisrespect?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, what's going on now?" And then they're like, "Yeah, his house got shot." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then I went over to his stream, and he was, he had his wig off and shit, and he was like, somebody just shot at my fucking house. Like he was salty, obviously, very, very pissed. Shocker. Shocker. Shot through his upstairs window.
Yeah, that's what he was saying anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a wife and kids at home.
He's got a fucking kid. What kind of fuckboy asshole shoots up a house with a known child walking around inside of it because it's a streamer? What the fuck?
Well, somebody that's obviously mentally unstable.
Psychopath. Right? They have no remorse, just straight up psychopath.
Yeah. And I don't know how true this is, but I was starting to see different things on Twitter and stuff, and I mean, this could be completely false, so I'm just gonna say allegedly.
Twitter is definitely the arbiter of truth.
But apparently, from what I was told, is before the shots happened, people or somebody in the chat said your house is going to get shot.
I saw a screenshot of that. Yeah.
And then the house got shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were just saying that because of the shots that happened yesterday, or it was, somebody was photoshopping the shit in there and putting stuff on Twitter. Either way, that's scary, man. That's very, very scary. Not only for, DrDisrespect, who obviously is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, and
a controversial one too,
and a controversial one on top of that.
Yeah.
Besides Ninja, he is probably one of the most recognizable streamers. Now, obviously, in my opinion, there's bigger names than DrDisrespect,
but he's recognizable.
But recognizable, like in terms of celebrity status, right? It's like you look at the movies, you've got like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who's like Ninja. And then you've got like a Leonardo DiCaprio, who is like DrDisrespect. Somebody that everybody kind of knows who he is. You don't see him as much, but when he's there, he makes an impression. Did I just call DrDisrespect Leonardo DiCaprio? But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
He's a celebrity, right? He's an esports celebrity, right? The 1993-94 back-to-back world champion or whatever. Whatever he says. And the fact that there are people out there that obviously know where he lives, and can, harm him or his family, or pretend to, whether it's trolly or they had no intention to hurt anybody in the house. The fact that he's that famous, and people know where he lives, you're going to get that. I mean, shit, I had people show up at my old place randomly one time, right? There's no harm, but it was like, you can't show up here. Like, I'm a person too. Like, I need privacy. I don't know if you think this is, and high school kids or fucking junior high kids or whatever, you just never know. They don't understand. They don't get it, right? They just assume, oh, it's DrDisrespect. It's, oh, he's going to laugh at this, or it's going to be funny or whatever, but it's not funny. And the fact that you shot at somebody's house, not only if he was alone, I mean, that's bad enough as it is. You're shooting into somebody's house, he could have been hurt.
If you were shooting at someone, full stop.
Yes. And not only that, you're shooting now into a house.
Yes.
And through a window.
Yes.
When there's a baby.
Yes.
And a wife in there.
Yes.
Like somebody would, I don't even know what I'd do. I'd lose my fucking mind. First
I would move.
Yes. Oh, instantly.
Then I would take some of my dirty esports money to buy some serious security camera shit.
Yep.
And go from there. That would be my starting point, because obviously, as much as we all want to be machismo and imagine that we'd see the guy in the midst of it, walk outside, fucking clothesline him off of a fucking bike or whatever he's on doing the act, and then just beat the shit out of him until he like goes home with his tail between the legs, not going to happen.
No.
And the odds of them coming back now are pretty much zero. So it's been done, and the odds of them catching them, I can't even imagine how they're going to swing that one. But it's just, it's crazy. I'm
surprised he doesn't have cameras already. You know what I mean? Like being so well known. Fuck, I have 8 cameras, and I'm just a fucking scrub.
Yeah, well, it's entirely possible that up until this point, he was pretty confident that nobody would have known his location. I mean, I'm gonna assume he's not an idiot.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe
he has. It's also possible that he has really great like security, but he just hasn't turned his house into a fucking compound with cameras pointed at every direction with 180-degree angle, field of view with night vision and shit. Like, because at this point, that's where, in order for this to not be a thing that happens anymore, that's what he has to do. He's going to be in a gated community with walls,
he's gonna move to,
and put cameras everywhere and live like a celebrity. And he's making really good money. But there's making really good money, and then there's gated community with fucking walls and security cameras everywhere, and basically borderline having a security detail around your house.
Well, I don't think he needs to have a security detail.
No, but you know what I mean. Like,
moving to a gated community and putting up a $20,000-$30,000 security system. For somebody like DrDisrespect, and I'm not going to like count his money, but I mean, Jesus Christ. The guy is not broke by any means, unless there's some sort of, unless he has some sort of vice that nobody knows about or whatever.
Of course.
But, and that's probably something that he's already looking into. I would imagine after a man's house gets shot with a wife and kids in there, I think just instinctively,
I'm pretty sure he just moved recently because he's
go.
he's in a totally different room for his casting, and he was already in a big room to begin with, and now he's in a totally different room as of recently. Like I took that to understand that he had just recently
he might be time to move again.
Yeah,
literally.
And people saying, why, is this a view stunt or some shit? Look, let's put on our reasonable caps here for a second. If you're live streaming and this goes down, he obviously took it to the police.
Yes.
But if you're fucking, can you imagine how unimaginably angry, probably scared, frustrated, confused you would be in the moments following your house getting shot up with your wife and child in it while you're live streaming, and then to sit there and go, why did he come back and not just go right to the cops? Fucking come on. I'm telling you right now, if you guys out there think you're a fucking Navy SEAL, just taking that shit like it's a casual Tuesday, and just go about your business and just call them up and then just handle everything like it's just nothing. Come on, give the guy some fucking credit, for God's sake. His house got shot up. He ended up obviously taking this to the police. There's no harm in going back to the stream and telling them what went down, then shutting it down. It's not like it's going to make the situation better or worse either way. And like I said, he was probably at a solid 12 out of 10 at the time. Yeah. I'd be at a solid 12 out of 10 at the time. And you could tell that he originally went back to just say that he had to end the stream,
and then
it just
hear gunshots in the background. And with all the shit that's been going on Twitch, there's already been a shooting live on Twitch. There's a guy, he's got his house shot at yesterday, and then to hear those gunshots, and as soon as it happened and he left, people in the chat automatically started assuming there was gunshots going off, right?
Sure.
So he came back and he was just like, listen, not everything's a fucking conspiracy, all right? The guy's house just got shot up. His wife and kids are at home. That's a problem. And, however he acts in the moment, you can't put I couldn't even imagine being put in that situation. So if I was DrDisrespect, I would be out of there as soon as humanly possible. While I was looking for a home, I would have had security cameras set up the next day. I would have already been calling. That shit would have been set up immediately, and until I can get my own place in a gated community, and then just live that celebrity life. Because I mean, when you're that famous, you can't just. I mean, it's sad, but you just can't sort of live in the open. And the guy lives in what, LA or some shit, or California?
I have no idea. Somewhere in California, which is a big open ass area, but I imagine in one of the major cities or just outside of the major city. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably not the cheapest thing to live in a gated community there, but if you want to stay on the West Coast, you better pony up, I suppose, because you can't really put a price on safety for your family, or at least feeling safe, right? You want to at least feel like you're safe, because I'd be fucking paranoid as shit every time I'd be streaming or whatever at that point. Just waiting for the next thing to happen.
Yeah, no, it's wild, it's crazy. It highlights the same endless gun bullshit. Nobody's ever heard of a knife drive-by. It's just more of the same shit, except now just more recently, it's getting into the video game community. It happened at the Madden event. Now we got arguably the second largest, or in top 5 streamers on the website having their personal home shot up. Just goes back to it. I'm not going to go deeper because we'll have the same conversation we've had 55 times. All I'm going to say is tired of it. And I appreciate, and when people can have difference of opinions, as from the long-winded and short-winded arguments and discussions I've had about the gun shit in the States, but fuck them. We can agree to disagree, but not all opinions are valid. And there's a lot of fucking invalid opinions about guns in the States. But yeah, all the best, obviously, to Guy and his family, and hopefully, whatever the fuck they're doing now to try and make sure this doesn't happen again, ensures that it doesn't happen again. Whatever, because that's just insane. I couldn't imagine having a child and having that. I'd no joke. If I hadn't already just banked up a bunch of fucking cash, it would be difficult for me to just say, fuck it, I'm just done this life. I'm going to go work at a fucking Walmart or some shit. Because I don't want to put, now they're not shooting, they might be shooting at me, but now my kid and my wife are getting involved. And now and they didn't ask for it, so now I've got to, reconsider some shit, which is a shitty way to go, but, life in America, make decisions based on how possible it is for you to get shot. It's just for recreational work purposes. It's insane. Absolutely insane. But in related here, because I did get a chance to watch Doc play a little bit of this and several other people, the Call of Duty Blackout, which is their Battle Royale mode, has been making the rounds. I believe it's in like a open beta from consoles right now. It might even be as specific as the PlayStation 4. I don't know. All I know is that I've seen some people been playing it. I watched some gameplay of it, and it's, I guess, doing a PC. The PC portion is this weekend sometime. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you watched any of this, sir?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen much of it?
Yeah, I watched like an hour or so. I watched Doc play some for a while and watched a couple of other random streams. Looks great. I mean, it's the first time in a long time.
It's a private beta, sorry, for pre-orders. Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably pre-order it then because I'd like to play.
Although the PC is open beta, I guess. I don't know whether you pre-order it or not. It's there. It's a beta. It's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is gonna be the first time in years that I'm gonna buy a Call of Duty game.
Yeah. Black Ops was the last one you went in, and it was during that like midnight event that you went in and
no, I bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, or
that was before Black Ops.
Was it?
Because Black Ops, I thought Black Ops was the last one you did because you went all out and got like the friggin' little RC car and the night vision goggles
maybe that was the last one I got.
You brought your little JVC camera and started interviewing people.
It's been a long time since I bought a Call of Duty game just because they're just so lackluster. And I mean, even a lot of the Call of Duties that have come out, they've gotten a lot of shitty like publicity. Like people are just hating on it. Like a trailer would come out and be like, this is fucking stupid. And this one has just been like overwhelmingly positive. Like
super positive.
Like, super positive. They've got the zombies mode. They've got Battle Royale that has zombies in it, which is cool.
It's like they took they took a bunch of the way that I've been seeing it and reading it is like they took a bunch of the popular Call of Duty maps and like stitched it into one big ass map, and then they were like, "Yep, this is where we're gonna have our Battle Royale." So you get the like the Nuketown reference area and the zombies, like you were saying, for example. Yeah,
no, it looks dope. I'm gonna try it out. It kind of looks a lot like PUBG in a way. Graphically, it looks very similar. It just runs like butter. I mean, everything that I've seen from the game is just smooth. It doesn't look clunky. When you aim at something, it hits it. There's, guns sound fine. I mean, they sound like Call of Duty guns. And it still looks and feels like Call of Duty. Like it keeps the integrity of the game, like the core that everybody likes, and then just made it into a Battle Royale mode, which I think is great. The squads is really cool. I just think it's going to be a really fun time. And at first I was like, man, they're not going to have a single player. What the fuck? And now I'm just like, okay, this looks like they've actually going to hit a home run. And, I I don't see it being a failure. I think it looks infinitely more promising than Battlefield Battle Royale. I think it looks a lot more polished. It's, you know, exactly what it is. We're still kind of on the fence about the Battlefield stuff. Like, you know, how is the
We haven't really
going to work?
We haven't really seen anything from the. In fairness, we haven't really seen anything from the Battlefield.
But I mean,
yet.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, from the trailers and information that we're getting about like 4 or 16 squads of 4 or something like that, and vehicles and tanks and shit. We don't know how that's going to work. Like, you know, is people just going to get into a tank and drive around and not, you know, be much harder to be killed, or are they going to camp vehicles? Like, how are these things going to work? Like, obviously we don't know yet, but Call of Duty is just like, we know exactly what we're getting. It looks exactly like Call of Duty, and it's in a game mode that's the craze right now. So I think Call of Duty is going to fucking smash this one out of the park. I think going to sell a shit ton of games, and we'll see if it ends up being a big game on Twitch or not, because Call of Duty kind of has this reputation of not doing so well on Twitch. Like, console games just don't I don't know, they don't translate well on Twitch. They for some reason, like, there's not a lot of console type games that people are, you know, whether it's have to buy in capture cards or using Twitch's you know, the on PlayStation 4 streaming service that's, you know, shit or whatever. It just seems like a lot of people don't do it. Like, even the Call of Duty players are typically playing on PC opposed to console. I think
probably what the majority of it is that if you look at it, you know, what does best on Twitch from the gaming side? It's competitive games, right?
Yeah.
And then you break down what games are within the competitive video game scene are the biggest, and there are, in the top like 10, I don't think there's more than maybe one console related competitive game that's big, not just on Twitch, but in general. And so I think it's a bit of that. It's just consoles don't really have esports scenes that have translated well to the Twitch environment. And I think, I mean, we also look at what's been biggest on Twitch. It's been, in the first wave, it was StarCraft, so it was the RTS era. Then we got the MOBA era that's only now just, it's not even ending. It's just kind of, it's there. It's just there. It's just being succeeded by something else. And now we've got Battle Royale, and this entire genre has crept out of mods for PC games. So it's just, I think it's a lot of it's just that console games just haven't had esports scenes or competitive scenes, which is what does well on Twitch, that is translated to the streaming world at this point. But if there was going to be one, a Call of Duty Battle Royale seems like it's a relatively okay candidate. For it, especially since it's on PC. I think the biggest you know, barrier to entry there is that it's like the Battlefield one. You're gonna have to buy the game, to play it, and so, you know. Well,
fortunately, people are already conditioned to buy Call of Duty anyway.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. I mean, like, if you're going outside of that type.
And then if Call of Duty wanted to get crazy, you know, they could make it free to play down the road.
You
right?
Break it out.
You know, they could just say, "All right, boys, that's it. It's free to play."
It wouldn't surprise me if they did that. Do you think they'd? I think they would do that, right? Like, for a time, just have it be attached to the game, and then break it out, and then make that portion of the game have like free to play elements, and just run it separately from the mainline series, because they're already trying to just make multiplayer only. Call of Duty.
It's really just going to boil down to how well the game takes off, and how what the demand is for it. Like, you know, if Activision has got the money to dump not only into an esport, but to turn this into a big thing if there's enough momentum for them. So I think if they do sell a shit ton of copies, which they will, but on top of that, they need to have those big streamers playing their game, being competitive constantly, having that stuff towards the top of Twitch and creating all that hype, all the YouTube channels making their videos on such and such, then I think there is a chance. I don't think it's going to happen in the first 6 months to a year, but I think before the next Call of Duty, like when they announce the next Modern Warfare or whatever they're going with, because there's no single player in this, so people are gonna be like, well, there are players out there that want to play the fucking the campaigns because they are fun. They're dumb fun. It's like playing a really awesome B-rated action movie, right? It's just fun. People enjoy it. So I think their thing was to push this out, to get this out. And an only way to charge full price for this is to throw in the zombies and to have that mode and have that, and then throw in the BR. And then once the next one comes out, when they're like, okay, guys, here's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're going back to the online multiplayer, regular stuff that you like. There is no Battle Royale for this one, but the Battle Royale that you guys love, we're going to continue to update that with new maps, new updates, new guns or whatever, and it's going free to play. That would be the play.
What if they reversed? What if they over time reversed the model? Because I think what you're seeing right now, somebody mentioned in chat, who's a footballer, was saying no way they would do that. They're money hungry. I think that's exactly why they would do it. Because as it stands, the traditional model of selling games, even when you're Call of Duty size and you're selling as many copies as they do, is not in the same universe as the free-to-play market has cornered as far as making money versus money put in. So everyone's tried to find different ways of tapping into that market as a games as a service thing, and this might be like you can already see that they're looking to get to a game as a service. When you cut out single player and you go pretty much straight multiplayer, you're already taking the first step to turning this into a games as a service with, new maps and all that shit just coming out, and you just update your game and keep playing, and the base game pretty much stays the same, and they just keep pumping that shit out. So what if they just flipped it where you have the multiplayer eventually convert to a free-to-play with monetizable in the traditional ways that we're seeing right now, and then once or twice a year, since the campaigns were only ever 6 hours long to begin with, once or twice a year, release a couple of like little single player things, $15 a pop for the people that really want the single player shit. That they'll sell a few million copies of that or something, or 1 to 5 mil, and have a little pack, and then just go with the multiplayer thing, because I think Activision's at a crossroads where they need to figure out how to monetize their whale, which is Call of Duty, or one of their whales, long term, and continuing to just sell base software shit with season passes I don't think is necessarily going to hold long term when they're up against the free-to-play titans like Fortnite, because Fortnite is a polished ass game for free, $0, and it is just as competent a shooter and a game as anything else that's out there. So that's a big problem for other people entering the space in any capacity, because even if it's not the same style of shooter, because obviously a Call of Duty military shooter, even in an arcadey form, is not the same as Fortnite is, that's still a hard value proposition to tackle. Going from free to $79.99 is a substantial fucking leap. So yeah, I think it's a possibility that they go that route. But as far as the beta goes, I'm probably going to try it this weekend. I'll give it a rip, and I guess you're looking to do it too, so we could be able to talk about it next week. Maybe our thoughts, on how it goes. I think it looks fine. I think the game looks terrible. I think it looks like last gen, but they had to do that in order to make it run 60 FPS, which is like in Call of Duty, it's a thing. They're not allowed to dip below 60. It's like Forza does the same thing. They'll sacrifice shit if the game isn't going to run pretty much 60 frames a second.
Which is, it looks like shit, man.
Which is admirable.
I think harsh. It's a little harsh. It's a Call of Duty game, man.
I think here's the reality setting in where people were shitting on like PUBG and how bad it looked, and then you realize that when you try and put 100 fucking people, because Call of Duty's only 80 people, it's not 100. And they didn't do 80 because they think it sounded cool and they're being different. They did 80 because it's performance saving. So people are getting a little bit of a reality check when a big AAA developer of the biggest fucking FPS franchise in the last, 15 years comes up to bat and says, here's our Battle Royale, and there's 80 people, and the game looks downgraded to shit because the map is huge and there's 80 people on it. I think it's a reality check for people. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm looking for the game to look like sex. It's way more important to me in a game like that the game runs well. And if there's one thing that Call of Duty game always does, bar none, is run like butter. Everything is always butter. So, thumbs up for that. And I look forward to giving it a shot because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in a hot minute. So maybe this is, going to be for people like us and many others another way to get back into the franchise. And then we're gonna have to wait and see what Battlefield does because now it's like, they're coming out with this beta, and now it's like, all right, Battlefield, your ball's in your court.
Yeah.
Look at all this positive press we're getting. Good luck. It's your turn.
I just got a bad feeling about the Battlefield Battle Royale. I don't know. It just seems too good to be true. I don't know. I'm having a hard time visualizing how that's gonna play with tanks and destructible things, and who knows? It's either gonna be the single greatest thing since sliced bread, or it's just gonna be super lackluster and not fun. It'll be like something I play for a few hours and be like, you know what? I'm gonna play Call of Duty, and that's not good, right? Because they're gonna have to smash. They're gonna have to smash it out the park, man. Because the Call of Duty one it runs like butter, man. It looks fucking. There's a lot of hype here. There's a lot of positive shit, man. And when Call of Duty's on point, fuck, man, that's like the Fortnite. That's the Fortnite of consoles right there. That's the shit. Like it's so good when Call of Duty's right on point. That's the type of shit that Fortnite loses players to Call of Duty to get back into Call of Duty. Like that's how fucking big of a juggernaut. We can't forget how big Call of Duty is. Call of Duty is the first juggernaut. Obviously Fortnite's on a whole smell of heaven right now.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, it's also available on every fucking platform there is possible, and everybody and their dog wants to be a professional Fortnite player to make that dirty esports money.
That's right.
But Call of Duty, man, can't underestimate it, man. Call of Duty will kill Battlefield before Battlefield even becomes a thing.
It's gonna be fun to see how this plays out because it's the two titans gonna be going at it. Both have the ability to fail.
Yep.
And so it is all I know to this point is that when Battlefield had their regular ass little closed beta thing that they ran, people weren't feeling it all that much.
No, there was no real hype or excitement. I watched quite a bit of it too.
Doc wasn't feeling it. None of the big guys that were playing it were really feeling it all that much. They were kind of lukewarm on the whole thing. It looked good, but it didn't look like it played all that well. It was the same problems that other Battlefield games had, where you spent more time dead and waiting to become alive again than actually playing the fucking game. And so, I mean, I just, and obviously in the Battle Royale mode, it would be a different thing, but that's all we have right now is we have this reaction to Battlefield 5 not being hot, and the first real look at Call of Duty comes out, and they do it with their Battle Royale mode, and it starts surprising people like, wait a minute, am I pumping the tires on a Call of Duty game right now?
No, exactly.
Like, dude, what's happening?
Exactly.
What year is it?
Exactly.
Right?
That's like an old fucking movie franchise that's been shit for years. And you're like, it's like a fucking Terminator. You remember the old school Terminator, and then for years you're just like, this is fucking garbage. And then all of a sudden they show you some previews of some new Terminator shit where it's just like taking it back to the roots, and James Cameron's part of it, and you got fucking Hans Zimmer in the background doing their shit, and Arnold's looking yoked, and they're using some new de-aging technology, and they've got some old fucking school people. and it's going to be an IMAX and it's on a whole smub of heaven. And then you're going, holy shit, am I pumping up Terminator again right now? Because, part of my soul's been wishing for a new like an actual good Terminator, but I've just given up hope for so many years. Just fucking terrible. They're just in it for the money. It's just nowhere near as good as it is. Like at best, it's okay, but okay is not enough because it's Terminator. That's what Call of Duty is. And Call of Duty came out and hit a home run on its first little run here. And the fact that they're throwing this game out, letting people play it, and not putting any embargoes or some weird shit, or they're going, hey, it's open beta this weekend, come fucking play it. That's showing that they have some confidence in their fucking game. That they're going, you know what? Yeah, let them play it because they're gonna love it. That's what it is,
dude. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's really it's nuts. So yeah, we'll get a chance to play it. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk more specifically about our experiences. But yeah, do you think Halo needs a battle royale?
No, fuck. Halo just needs to die. Like Halo just needs to make a movie or a Netflix show and end the games. That's what Halo needs to do. I think
I don't know if Halo needs. I don't think Halo needs to die because I mean, if Halo needs to die, then Call of Duty needs to die and Battlefield needs to die. But I think it needs to. I think it needs to be Halo again. And I say that not to make America great again joke. I think it's just Halo hasn't been Halo in so fucking long that it needs to be Halo again. It just needs to figure it out.
I even think at this point, even if we brought it back to the original, or they did a remake of like number 2 or whatever, and they fucking just remade that game for the new generation of consoles and shit. I think people buy it because of nostalgia, but I think that also people realize that, you know what, I don't think I like this game as much as I used to. I think Halo is at its core. It was a great experience. It's like watching Logan. Go and watch Logan. It's a great movie.
Logan is a great movie.
It's a great
fantastic movie. Yeah.
It's gritty. It's something new. It's raw. It's like shit. It's exciting, but it's emotionally draining. And it's like it's daunting. It's like I love that movie, but I never want to watch it again. Not because it's a bad movie. It's just because some things just need to be, some things just you need to experience it and then just remember the experience. You don't need to try and recreate that experience again because it's just never going to. It's kind of like that thing where there's like this drug. I don't even know what drug it is, but there's a drug that when you take this drug, maybe it's cocaine or I don't know, meth. I have no idea.
One of those casual ones.
But anyway, you take this drug and you get like the most euphoric feeling ever. Like
MDMA.
Maybe that's it.
Molly.
Molly. Yeah.
So
Molly. Whatever it is, you get this euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
And then every time that you take it, you never get that same euphoric feeling you did
chasing the dragon. That's most drugs though, but I know what you mean though. Yeah.
No, but also everything else that happens in your life, you don't appreciate it as much. You're not, like the birth of your child.
The pleasure centers of your brain get fucked on. Yeah.
It's done. It's done. That's what's happened to me with Halo, where it's like I love the game so much and it's great, but I've been burned so many times now, and now there's just, in my opinion, there's just better games out there that do Halo better than Halo, like Destiny, like Titanfall. I just find that there's games, obviously they're not Halo, but they're very Halo-esque. I just feel like Halo is ran its course, and the only way that you make Halo different is to do what they did. What ruined it is add a whole bunch of new abilities and fucking weird shit and things that you're going, this isn't Halo. Because Halo at its core, I think, is a very basic sci-fi game that was amazing for its time. I'm not saying you can't recreate magic, but I feel like Halo just needs to stop. I think if they go and explore the world in a different means, like TV or movie, then I think that'll lead itself nicely there. But in terms of video game, especially with the amount of competition out there now, and you could make the argument, well, Call of Duty's been doing the same thing, and Battlefield's been doing the same thing, and blah blah blah. But those games have also managed to not only be consistent and consistently put out content, but there are still people that are holding on to that. And I know that there's people out there, Halo fans out there, that are holding on, but I think that there's a bigger disconnect from Halo, fanboys that were big fans of it to where they are now, opposed to Call of Duty or Destiny or whatever other Battlefield. They're still in the conversation. And now when Halo comes into the conversation, just like, oh, really? We're getting more Halo? No, but this time it's going to be different. We promise. It's like, dude, all of Bungie's gone, man. The dream is dead. There ain't nobody that created the originals like working on the game anymore. So you're just using the IP. It's gone. It's dead. It's over. That's my opinion. And I used to be a huge Halo fan.
It would be, there was the draw to Halo for me was always that it did first person shooters differently, but yet still the same. So you could play Halo and you could play other first person shooters, and you were getting, it wasn't like your skill just magically evaporated, but the pacing was always different. And I actually think that the pacing is what is the biggest hurdle that Halo has to deal with, is that when Halo tried to speed its pacing up because the world wanted nothing but Call of Duty, which was die, respawn in literally less than 0.02 of a second, be sprinting at 1,000 miles an hour, and be back into the action, in 5 seconds, like you're back in shooting a gun at somebody in 5 seconds. I think that killed Halo, because previous to that, people really liked the pacing of Halo. And I don't know if that's just a general. It must be just a generational shift as to what people want to see or experience in the first-person shooters. But that was why I always liked Halo anyway. And maybe they find a way to do it again. But you're right. There's not very many people still kicking around at Bungie that are original Halo folks. But maybe, at the same token, maybe that's what Halo needs. Because how many games did those original folks crank out for Halo? Post 3, people really were like, guys, no, this is not good. So maybe that's what they need. I don't know. I think part of the problem is also that Destiny is there. Yeah. And Destiny is literally Halo. The Destiny was the most weak-ass attempt at making a not Halo game I think I've ever seen a fucking developer try and do all right, guys, we've made this one IP for the last 10 years, and now we're going to move on to bigger and better things. We're going to make this new IP, and it's called Destiny. And then people picked up the controller, played it, and went, that's literally the Guilty Spark. The only difference is that it's that guy from the Game of Thrones voice acting it. What the fuck is happening right now? This is literally Halo. And so I think that's part of the problem too, is that Destiny is Halo's own cock block, which is unfortunate because Destiny is quite shit. The gunplay is there, it's because it's Bungie still knows how to make a good first person shooter. Guns feel good to shoot. It's a good shooting experience, but the story until recently, and even now, it's arguable that it was some of the most pedestrian shit to have ever been written on paper for a video game. Down to we are literally at one point. The story was at one point. I've mentioned this before. It's one of my favorite things because somebody got paid money for this shit. Light versus dark, literally, not in a figurative sense, not in a broad, high level talking about the plot sense, but literally light versus dark. At which point, when I played the original Destiny, I checked out so fucking fast.
That
I
should
just
be the
said,
tagline for this podcast.
Get out. Light versus dark.
Alpha. Light versus dark.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's pretty bad, dude.
And it's unfortunate because you know what I was thinking about just today, actually, was that I want to like Destiny because I think I want another sci-fi fantasy first-person shooter game. I just haven't had one in forever that I thought was any good.
Well, you got that game coming. What's it called? Remember that? That's like a fucking Halo Destiny clone too.
What, Anthem?
Anthem. That's coming
Anthem.
out.
Yeah, Anthem. But I don't think I've been any more tentatively interested in a video game in a long time, because Anthem almost is like the embodiment of like the corporate video game now, and I'm scared that it's just going to be the corporate video game. I think it has. I feel like it has a higher % chance of literally just being EA's version of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Than it being
probably what it is,
just a good game in general.
So
I want it to be good because I want to play it, because I want that experience, just like I want Destiny to be good. But fuck me, it's just bad. It's getting there though. Hopefully, they had 10 years for Destiny, so maybe in the last year it gets good.
Maybe,
and it's just maybe it doesn't. Quick note, literally don't have to talk about it at all. I just wanted to put this out there. Forza Horizon 4 had a demo put out. I downloaded it before the podcast. Haven't got a chance to play it yet. I just watched a little bit of gameplay, saw some screenshots. This game graphically looks so fucking sexy. It's absolutely insane. People are going to buy this game just to take screenshots and make wallpaper out of it. I'm fucking telling you right now. It looks absolutely fucking incredible. Nintendo Direct! Here we go.
Oh boy, let's get through this.
Here we go.
As soon as possible.
We're warming up now, boys. Here we go. First thing I've got listed here, Birdo, who got shafted mercilessly for not being in Smash Bros. Birdo wasn't even in Mario Tennis this time around. But finally, Birdo and Shy Guy both coming to Mario Tennis. So let's fucking go. I'm still campaigning for Birdo and Smash Bros. Because I think it's an absolute travesty that Birdo is not represented more frequently in Nintendo games. Super Mario Bros. U and Super Luigi U, more Wii U games, Jeff, coming to the Switch. Shocking development.
Shocking.
Capcom has I didn't catch the exact name of it, but it's like a Capcom beat 'em up pack or something like that. That I think the name was. Anyway, it's coming the 18th. You'll be able to find out more about it if you just Google search that by now. But it's a bunch of Capcom's old side-scrolling beat 'em up arcade games like Final Fight and all that shit. And there's like 3 or 4 of them or something like that in this pack. There's a number of them anyway. And they all have multiplayer, the whole 9 yards. It's all set up. It looked great. And it reminded me how disappointed I was that Streets of Rage looked so absolute shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
On this next installment. It just reminded me how bad they fucked that up. Katamari Damacy, which a lot of people are going to be stoked about because that was a really popular game, is coming this winter. It's called Katamari Damacy Reroll. That's the one where you just basically roll around and you become a slightly larger and larger ball of just random assorted items, because that's a good game. And it's Japanese. Then they showed off little bits and pieces of the NES library that's coming, or what they're doing with it. They didn't have a specific list for the library yet, but I think they had like Ghouls and Ghosts or something they had on screen at some point, and a couple of others. Or Ghosts and Goblins. Which one of the two am I trying to think of right now? I can't think of what the
Ghosts
actual...
and Goblins?
It's one of those. It might be a combination of both. The multiplayer games are enabled, so locally and online, which was nice to see. So even if it's an old NES game, you'll be able to play it online with people who are locally, which is at the very least kind of neat. Many people already knew this, but cloud saves are coming. Finally, you have to pay for this service to get cloud saves. I find that stupid, but here we are anyway. The smartphone app for voice chat, we've all talked about this since they first announced that was going to be how they were going to do it. I still think this is one of the most ridiculous ideas anyone's ever had, but then again, it's Nintendo. It's not going to make a damn difference anyway. But the app that they have for it also connects with other certain games for extended features, kind of like Splatoon. And it's kind of like when get to bring back the Halo thing, I guess, when they did the Halo, what was it called? Halo Waypoint or whatever it was. There was like a computer app, an entire computer app that connected into Halo and your account, Microsoft account, and it kept track of a bunch of stuff, and it had lore and extended. It was basically like the extended experience, the extended gaming experience. So I think they're going for something along those lines, like the extended game experience with certain games with the phone app. So it won't just be for voice chat, for example. The monthly cost, which they stuck somewhere in the middle of this whole thing, looked like, if I remember correctly, it was like $3.49 a month or some shit, or $5 something for an account, and then there was a family pack of 2 accounts or something for $35 a year or something along those lines. It's not an expensive.
Yeah, it's
thing.
affordable.
It's affordable. One of the cool things is that I was totally down for is that they're releasing wireless Nest controllers. So with all the old school Nest games that they're putting on the console, they're releasing wireless Nest controllers, and they charge just like your Joy-Cons. They slide into the charger slots.
Oh, that's cool.
Just at the top of the controllers. So that was a big thumbs up for me, and it's $60. Don't quote me on this, but $60 for what looked like 2.
It's not bad.
So you get both. If you do get both for $60, I'm on board. If it's $60 for one, go fuck yourself, Nintendo. But if it's 2,
I think it'll probably be 2.
That's fire. Yeah. Diablo 3 coming to Switch. Looks like they finally made a sequel to Diablo 2, Jeff. Hopefully it's good.
It didn't. Oh, hopefully.
Super Mario Party. The Super Mario Party Switch is coming. That lands October 5th. That's actually coming up soon. It looks pretty good. They, if I heard correctly, all of the mini games are new. So I don't think they rehashed any of the old mini games, and there's like 80 mini games.
Damn.
In the game. Several games to be played. So that's pretty cool. I mean, Mario Party games, always great. Always a great way to lose friends. It's good.
It's fun. It's
good.
fun. We should each get Mario Party and fucking do a little.
I'm absolutely gonna have it because Gabs wants to play it.
I'll buy a copy and
we'll
get some shit together.
Absolutely, because that's a real the fastest way to find out which one of your friends might be a serial killer.
Yeah,
is to play Super Mario Party with them. It's a great way to find out. Game Freak, which people would, if you're old enough, associate with the Pokemon games. You know, you turn on your Game Boy and you get the Game Freak, and the shooting star would go across the top of the logo. So they showed off a new, what I think was supposed to be some sort of RPG. They have a working title, which is Nintendo's favorite thing to do, is announce working title video games. That's called Town. They really...
They went to town on that one.
They really got fancy with that name for sure, yeah. That's apparently slated for 2019. If I understood correctly, the entire thing happens within a town. So like the whole game is within this singular town. And you could definitely tell that the people working on it have done Pokemon before. It just had that vibe, like the animation, the art style.
Better be one big ass town.
Well, maybe it's Tokyo. You could spend a hot minute in Tokyo on foot.
You could.
It is several minutes for sure. City Skylines coming to the Switch, and I have here in the notes at 5 frames a second, because that game runs like shit on my computer. I can't even imagine what they had to do to this game to make it run on the Nintendo Switch, but they did it, and it launches today.
Ooh, I will not be buying that.
So, but if you're into that, I mean, City Skyline, not to knock City Skylines, as a city builder, it's actually a really good game. But optimization-wise, oh my god, is it bad? It's pretty bad. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but maybe somebody in the community buys it and lets us know. I would be interested in knowing just how many frames you get. It's okay in the beginning, but if even on a computer, if you get like a reasonable sized city and shit's starting to really start to move around, you zoom out on the map, and it's kind of like, remember you had like Roller Coaster Tycoon, and you were in the later levels, and you had like 500 wooden roller coasters. They were all the same one, but it didn't matter because it made the most money anyway. And then you zoomed out on the map, and just zooming out, you just died. Everything was like just this doing the robot at 2 frames a second. Yeah, that's pretty much what that game is like as well. Then we got a little sneaky peeky at Daemon X Machina, which is a mecha game. So if you're a fan of mecha anime, then maybe this game is for you. It just basically looked kind of like a Gundam type deal. They were flying around. They were the big thing that they were touting in this little trailer bit was that you can find your arsenal or like weapons and stuff, and then you take them back and you have access to those weapons for the rest of the game on whatever versions of robots you're building and shit like that. So that was like their selling point. It also ran at 5 frames a second. Watching that trailer, I don't know how you could even do it. And then it said that it has 4-player online co-op, which I'm telling you is probably going to be 3 frames a second if the single player is 5. So just heads up for that. Either way, I'm going to be honest with you, the game didn't look very good with or without the frames. It could have an extra 55 frames a second, still wouldn't make the game very compelling. Yoshi's Crafted World. So this was one that was in that list that last week that we were talking about, and it was almost exactly how I envisioned it. It wasn't full on. So Yoshi isn't paper, but the world is basically like, construction paper crafted like crafts like you would do as like a kid. And it's a lot like Yoshi's Woolly World, but you can also turn like and look at the stage completely from the backside, which changes, what your entire perspective, what you can see and do. You can go backwards through the level that way. There was a lot of, it was almost like they created this thing in a 3D space and then planted Yoshi in it, and you're technically playing on a 2D field, but you can rotate it around and it changes everything. It was pretty intricate. It was pretty cool looking. Woolly World was a snooze fest, but as a game, it was still kind of fun and cutesy. This looks much the same, except a little bit more depth to it. And I'm sure it's going to make a lot of people really happy. 2019 is the open-ended release date for that. Asmodee table games, for those who like table games, this makes sense to me on the Switch. If you have a portable games thing like this and you've got your controllers and shit, why not have some table games? Carcassonne, there was a Lord of the Rings card game in there as well, which was kind of out of place and random. I was not expecting Lord of the Rings anything fucking in this, but here we are. And then Pandemic, which is another one of those disease, going through the world type strategy games. And more, including Catan, Settlers of Catan, which is a very popular, if not the most popular, tabletop game ever. And more, I guess, are coming. So if you're into that kind of stuff, that will be available to you sometime. Civilization 6 with 4-player... I tried to envision how this works. So, the Civilization games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very good games. Civilization 6 is an incredibly well-made game. It is still very hard on the computer, so again, I'm wondering how this is going to run on a Switch. But then they went out and said 4-player local multiplayer. And I'm trying to envision 4-player split screen Civilization on literally any platform, and then apply that to the Switch. Like, does it only run in docked mode? Could you imagine 4-player split screen Civilization 6?
Are you sure that's split, or you can have 4 Switches together?
It showed split screen, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I might have been high, but I'm pretty sure I saw a split screen.
I don't know.
And what you're saying would make way more fucking sense, but that's also not even local multiplayer anymore. That's just that's like online that you just so happen to be sitting in the same room.
Oh, okay.
They were touting this as local multiplayer. I don't know how they're going to do it. That I'm just interested now as to how the hell that's supposed to go over. Starlink, which is the not Star Fox that includes Star Fox for the Nintendo Switch version. If you remember, it's the game where they're selling those like toy ship models that you buy different parts that attach to the ship, and then it adds that part to the game. I don't know if you remember that stuff from E3 or whatever, but it's literally like you buy a base ship, and then you can buy individual parts like you're collecting cards, and you start slapping shit on it, and it goes to the game. That's what that is. So it's this game, and they really drilled home the fact that Star Fox was in it because they showed almost nothing of the actual like regular ass game. It was just a bunch of CGI Star Fox, and they were just like, "Hey, Star Fox, do a barrel roll." They actually dropped that line. It was all Star Fox. So if you're wondering where Star Fox went, it's now called Starlink Battle for Atlas. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, still running at 4 frames a second. They have an expansion coming. Warframe, which is just forever in the background doing well. It's one of those games.
I don't really understand it, but it's doing well.
You can't deny that the game is just like its own success story thing. I tried playing it 2 different times, like earlier this year or late last year. Can't do it. For a new player, it is objectively shit to get into. They don't tell you how to do one of the 5 billion things that game has got going on. But for longtime players, game is incredible, and now it's coming to the Switch. Now, for some memes. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is getting a remaster and coming to the Switch. I'm not angry about that.
Yeah, I saw that. Looks pretty good.
Because Crystal Chronicles was a pretty good game. The best parts of Crystal Chronicles were unfortunately locked behind the fact that you needed like a link cable to play multiplayer, which is just, who was out there doing that shit? The answer was nobody. So it's just like 3 people were spending all that money to making that happen. But now, no link cable required, online multiplayer, it's incredible. The future, Jeff.
The future.
And the future starts in 2019. So you're going to have that in 2019. You're also going to get a Final Fantasy 12 remaster to the Switch, which is basically, I think, just the same remaster that's been on the PC or whatever, now going to the Switch. And then the biggest joke of this whole thing was that then they were like, but wait, there's more moment. And they started slowly, like in like the Brady Bunch squares, they started like slowly fading in all of these Final Fantasy titles. They showed like Cloud, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 10-2, and I went, wait a minute, we skipped a number.
8.
8. No 8! Nobody gets 8.
Got fucked.
You get everything but 8. There is no 8 remaster. Get fucked if you like Squall or Triple Triad or anything that makes Final Fantasy VIII arguably the greatest in the entire franchise. Get fucked. Not happening. But you do get access, apparently, at some point to all of those other remasters. So if you like Final Fantasy, congratulations. You can now play it on your Switch, and by now I mean sometime in the future. The GameCube controller and adapter and the Smash Bros. Ultimate Switch bundle pre-orders are en route. They have like a bundle that's actually for Smash. It's got like little decals on like the dock and everything for Smash, and it comes with a Smash-themed Joy-Con controller and all that nonsense that you can buy into. And for people that take that game really seriously, you get the GameCube controller. They're literally only releasing this for people that play Smash Brothers. Like, nobody else is out there using the GameCube controller for anything else. So you got to believe that there is a big-ass market looking to play Smash with a GameCube controller. And then the last thing on the list is Isabelle from Animal Crossing is going to be in Smash Bros. Ultimate. And the crowd went mild! Because nobody gives a fuck.
No one cares. No one's playing that character.
They already had the villager in there, but apparently they need to have Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and that was like a precursor to a last, after credits roll type shit where they announced that there's another Animal Crossing game coming in 2019. So it was like a low-key advertising campaign. We've got Isabelle from Animal Crossing. We don't even have fucking Luigi in that shit. We don't have Birdo. We don't have some mainline characters that are as old as fucking time themselves for Nintendo that aren't in that shit, and they're slapping Isabelle in here. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Rip.
But there you go. Nintendo out of the way. Mr. Black, hit me up with the sound of movies and TV.
Movies and TV.
Speaking of games that make their way to TV or movies, Alan Wake is apparently getting a TV show. That's happening. Apparently, also, it was originally supposed to be a TV or movie to begin with, and then it got converted into a game. So they're just, I guess, putting it to its original purpose. So they already had this in mind, for better or worse. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. But
I like Alan Wake, so I'm not mad about it.
I think it works. It's kind of like the Stephen King shows that they've had. I think that's how it's going to kind of end up looking.
Yeah.
And which is not bad because those shows are at the very least mildly entertaining.
Yeah.
So hopefully that turns out to be pretty good. And then there was a thin week for movies and TV. You can tell by the fucking notes on this page right now. But Jon Hamm. Interested in playing the next Batman. What hot take, Mr. Black, Jon Hamm as Batman. Go. What do we got?
It's not going to happen. I know that, but
just shot Jon Hamm out of the sky. Get fucked.
Jon Hamm just got fucking wrecked. No, I mean, I could picture him as Batman. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's more of like a fan thing where fans are like, we could picture Jon Hamm in the spot, but nobody has, like Warner Brothers, nobody's gone to Jon Hamm and asked him. He's been on record even saying that it hasn't even been discussed. There's no, I've been in the same room with these people and it has never even been brought up. The players that they were considering before Ben Affleck, and obviously Ben Affleck is either not going to be doing another Batman or he'll do one last Batman, but it's looking like he's probably not. He's going through some shit right now too. He's like in rehab and shit. He like had a fucking meltdown.
What?
Yeah, he's all kinds of fucked up.
Really?
But it was supposed to be who was it? Jake Gyllenhaal. He was a front runner. In fact, I think Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be Batman just before Ben Affleck. And then there was somebody else. It wasn't Ryan Gosling, I don't think. Might have been Ryan Gosling. I'm not sure. It was one of these guys that aren't Ben Affleck. The problem is the problem is with Jon Hamm is does he not have enough clout? Does he not have the pull? Well, I think he's a seasoned enough actor and stuff. He's just too old. He's older than Ben Affleck, and at this point, they need to hold on to a Batman. You can't be switching out Batmans every 2 to 3 years.
It's like the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah, and like Jon Hamm is like 47 years old. And you got to think about it. Even if Jon Hamm starts filming in 2019 for the next Batman, it comes out in 2020. By that time, he's pushing 50, right? And I mean, how many more movies can the guy really do? I mean, he's obviously in great shape. He even said he'd have to get in crazy good shape, but he's not like he looks good. He looks
steroids are a hell of a drug, Jeff.
They are a hell of a drug, but yeah. I mean, I think at this point they're gonna need to get somebody that is relatively young, like in their, even if it's 40. In their early 40s, late 30s, early 40s. And that was that. I mean, I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he did a great job. I like the older, grittier, meaner, seen some shit Batman. I like that a lot. And I like the Bruce Wayne too. But I think now they're going to have to just try and get somebody that's a little bit younger. So no, I don't think so.
Speaking of younger, Ryan Gosling wants to be a star in doesn't say he wants to be Batman, but he wants to star in a Batman movie done as long as, this is a stipulation he put out there, the movie is done by the La La Land director Damien Chazelle.
No. No, it's not gonna happen. But I think
would
Ryan
you see Ryan Gosling as a character? Maybe not Batman, but maybe Batman. But like, what would he be? What do you think he fits in the Batman universe?
I don't see him as Batman. I don't see him as Joker. I could see him playing Robin for sure. I think he'd make a good Robin, and that's probably the role he'd be shoot into because he's He's super likable. He's got that baby face.
He's the baby face. Yeah.
He's not ripped. Like, I'm sure he could get ripped, but he's not like some big fucking he's not a Batman.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could see Robin. I could definitely see him playing Robin for sure.
Yeah. La La Land director, though, not about to start doing any Batman movies anytime soon.
The DCEU, though, is under fire, man, because Henry Cavill is potentially done as Superman.
I saw that, yeah.
This huge basically public negotiation and strong arming from Warner Brothers and Henry Cavill, I think. And there's a lot of rumors going around with Henry Cavill. Like, obviously, he's doing The Witcher, so he got signed on for The Witcher. Apparently, he's being paid a shit ton of money for that. They also signed him because of the huge success of the last Mission Impossible movie. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he there's a lot going for him right now. His contract is ending, or has ended. He was supposed to be potentially going to do another Man of Steel, and then, you know, the more Justice League movies. He was supposed to make a cameo in Shazam, but he didn't want to. Like, he said he was either too busy or he just, I don't know what it was. But, you know, Warner Brothers didn't like that too much. And so they're basically threatening, or even publicly came out and said they were, you know, they're going to be focusing on Superwoman or Supergirl or whatever the fuck she's called.
Yeah.
And that you know, they didn't have any plans with Henry Cavill. Anyway, there's this huge fight going on, with his agent, who's The Rock's old wife. She's like a big agent, and even The Rock is underneath her as well, his ex-wife. But anyway, that all went down, so we don't know what's going on. It's looking like he might not actually be Superman anymore, which would be pretty huge, because the vast majority of people loved him as Superman, and he's, in my opinion, he's the best Superman that we've ever got.
Well, he's got the look down perfect. He's got the size. He's just a jacked individual. He's got the demeanor. Yeah. He is
Superman.
He's
right?
Superman, right? Yeah.
So so obviously fans are super pissed, and so we'll see what happens with that. But the thing is with Henry Cavill, apparently this guy's like a diva. So
I could see that
when he's on set, like, he thinks he's a fucking like A-list superstar now. So like, he has these crazy demands. You know, he's expecting insane amounts of pay. Apparently, like, he's just very, very tough to work with, in terms of just, you know, getting shit done and just being up to do what the higher ups are asking you to do. He's questioning everything. He wants more. And obviously, like, he's done a lot. He's been part of a lot of big films. Yeah, his career is definitely on the up and up, but he really needs to watch it, because you know, he is replaceable. I mean, it's Henry Cavill. He's not fucking Leonardo DiCaprio, right? He's not fucking George Clooney or Brad Pitt or something, where he's been around long enough that he can start making these outlandish demands, or just being,
he's not the top shit, you know.
He's not he's good, and he's on his way. He's on his way up for sure, but he needs to watch it. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, he's signed with The Witcher now, so I'm just super excited about that. So, but yeah, that's really the other big news that's been going on the last 48 hours, is this whole Superman shit like that. So we'll see what happens, but the DCEU is just constantly getting fucked.
Either by themselves or by other people, but mostly by themselves. They do a good job on their own. They don't really need help.
Okay, so did you hear? I saw the funniest shit ever. Okay, so when the Superman thing came out, one of these publications came out and said, you know, they're thinking about taking Superman in a whole different direction. And Michael B. Jordan's name came up as Superman.
Right? I didn't read it, but I think I saw scrolling down. I saw something related to that.
So Michael B. Jordan. There's this picture of Michael B. Jordan in the Superman getup and shit like that. And I saw the funniest fucking post. It was on Facebook, but it was like a screenshot of a tweet. And some random black guy goes, he's like, you know, I'm all for this movement that's going on right now. But I'm about, if Michael B. Jordan is Superman, I'm about to be out with the white folks protesting Because that shit's fucking stupid, right? He said something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was funny as fuck.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, they don't know exactly where they're going with Superman. I mean, we could see a completely different Superman. They want to go with the Supergirl or whatever. So we'll see. I think we're not going to see Superman for a while, regardless. We might see him in Shazam. If Henry Cavill resigns, he'll probably do some late shooting with Shazam and make an appearance there. But beyond that, I'm not sure we're going to see Superman for a while.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I did see that they were even saying that there could not be another Superman for a real long time because of all this stuff happening. But yeah, that's pretty wild. Then I just had some completely random, hilarious things that I came across in my looking through Screen Rant. One was Stallone is out there teasing Rambo 5. I'm guessing Stallone will star in it himself because it's Stallone, and he's 72 years old, and on enough steroids to power a horse at this point. He is a horse. He's a machine. He's an absolute fucking machine. You can't knock Sylvester Stallone. He's an absolute fucking animal. So yeah, he's out there teasing Rambo 5. That wouldn't shock me, nor would it shock me if he starred in it. And then kind of related to that, Arnold apparently turned down like 4 different attempts to bring him back to do another Predator movie.
I don't blame him. I heard that Predator movie's ass.
That's what I've been hearing too. So I think old Arnie has dodged several bullets for that. I just don't think Predator works now. I don't think Rambo really works now either. But here we are.
No.
So it is what it is. You know what I do want to see, even though it will probably lose horrible amounts of money, but I'm one of the people that liked it. Jack Black wants to make another Nacho Libre. I don't give a fuck. People shit on that movie all the time. It's
funny.
It's
a funny movie.
Funny ass movie. Jack Black fucking kills. How could you go wrong with Jack Black being a lucha libre? As like a funny movie. Like that shit's funny.
Yeah, and what's his face? So a lot of these are making comebacks. Fucking Will Ferrell and Riley.
I know who you mean.
Seymour Riley, or whatever the fuck his name is.
The guy who looks like he got hit with a shovel.
Yeah, so they're in talks to do Step Brothers 2.
Yes.
So they want to get together and do Step Brothers 2.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah. So I'm okay with both of these things happening.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm okay with both of them.
Absolutely. I just I think Nacho Libre got a bit of a rough rap because it came on the heels of what was it? Napoleon Dynamite. Same husband, wife, writer combo or whatever did Nacho Libre, and you could tell because it was that same super dry, almost so dry it was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
humor.
Like
it was just really awkward, which Jack Black is perfect for being the awkward, individual. And I think that with Napoleon Dynamite being the cultural fucking phenomena that it was, I mean, there was a time where everyone was talking about that movie. They were quoting it. It was like it was almost our generation's like Wayne's World type level of just like if you made somebody,
it was like old school.
Yeah, like if you made somebody watch Napoleon Dynamite in 20 years from now, they'd probably think it was like they wouldn't get it. It wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't make sense. In the same way that when I had Gabs watch Wayne's World for the first time, just right over the fucking head. It just doesn't even make sense. And part of that's because obviously she's not from North America to begin with, and there's so many North American references, but it's a movie of that time. And so, I think it's very telling that even of the short distance between the release of Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, which was not that much time passed between those two movies, that was apparently enough time for people to go, you know what? We're done with this style. It's done. We had it. It's over. But I would totally go and watch Jack Black do it. His idea even sounded dope. Apparently at the time when they just finished, not long after Nacho Libre wrapped up or some shit, whenever he got quoted for this, but he was talking about how there was already an idea for a sequel where he goes to do Japanese wrestling. Like he goes to Japan to do fucking wrestling, which I can even fucking imagine the possibilities of Jack Black as a lucha libre in Japan fighting in that wrestling. It'd be incredible. I'd watch it for sure, guaranteed.
I'd watch that.
Somebody go make that shit happen, please, for the love of God. But that's all I've got for that. Is there anything else for TV? Oh, I watched the first episode of American Horror Story for this season last night. Didn't impress me. All I can say is that American Horror Story, what it does do well is it definitely does take what's happening in the Americas of today and turn reality to like 15. So like this one's based around nuclear winter, basically. Like it opens with bombs being dropped on America and all over the world. So it's like that kind of thing. And so they do that very well, but then they start to lose me with some of the in-between bits. Like last season's American Horror Story was absolute gong show.
I started watching. I watched the first episode of Jim Carrey's new show, Kidding.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to see that. What was your take on that?
You know, when I was first watching it, I started. It was about 10 minutes in, so I didn't see the first like 10 minutes of the episode. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, this is Jim Carrey. It's not a comedy. There's comedy aspects to it for sure. It's like dark humor, but then like he's acting serious, and I'm watching it, and I'm starting to get more and more intrigued by it because his character is super unique. His character is almost like Mr. Rogers. He's almost like a Mr. Rogers character.
Okay,
and he plays like a really famous kids show host, where he like sings songs kind of like Mr. Rogers, like, right. Hey kids, you know, how's it going? And he's got a, but his whole fucking life is like falling apart, and his child dies, and there's all kinds of shit, and he's going through a lot of stuff. But then like the whole cast and crew, you start to get to know them, and they're all fucked, and they all got their own, but they're all like surrounded by this fake kids thing that's going on. It's kind of hard to explain, but
so it's like the dichotomy of doing a kid show where everyone has to be uppity and happy, and then the contrast of reality sets in after the show.
They're not. Yeah,
the lights turn off, and then shit's gone tits up.
Yes. But the first episode was great. I kept watching it, and I'm like, and there was like shocking shit. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And then I was like, you know what, this is kind of cool, and I immediately started recording it for a weekly show. So
what channel is that on?
I don't even. I'd have to text you it. I don't know. I found it by accident. I was just scrolling through TV, and I was like, oh shit, this is the Jim Carrey show. But that was good. And Kayla and I started watching Jack Ryan. The Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
The Tom Clancy's one. It's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, we're like 4 episodes deep. It's really fucking fire.
What did you think about? I forgot to ask you. Did you watch Queer Eye? You finally watched Queer Eye. All right, I need Jeff's hot take on Queer Eye. How many episodes did you make it in? First of all.
We watched 2 episodes.
Okay. All right.
So we watched 2, and I put on the 3rd the other night, and Kayla's like, I'm just not in the mood to watch this right now. So we ended up watching The Ranch, which we've been watching, which is really great. But yeah, okay. So honestly, I don't like it as much as you do.
That's fair.
I don't like it as much as you do. There's one gay dude there that drives me crazy, like that I can't fucking stand.
It's gay Jesus, isn't it?
It's gay Jesus. Like the guy with the really long hair, and he's
Jonathan.
So
I think it's Jonathan is his name. He's just that guy. He's the type of gay guy that even a lot of people in the gay community go, bro, turn it down.
Yeah,
turn that shit down.
Like that, I'll be honest, like that, he kind of ruined, I wouldn't say he ruins the show, but he really, if he wasn't there, or he just turned the gay notch down like 5 levels, because everybody else, they're all gay.
Yeah.
But they all don't, I mean, they
represent a different area of the gay spectrum.
Yes,
every single one of them. He's way the fuck up here somewhere.
Absolutely.
And then they've got a guy way down here.
The other 4 types of gay I could fucking chill with. I'd be down to fucking chill with and fucking hang out and
Jonathan
do whatever.
Grew on me. I was like that too when I watched the first few episodes, and
Dude,
Gabs hated him.
I tweeted it out to you.
Yeah, that was him.
Was this? that guy just, I'm like, what the fuck am I? What did Adam?
I couldn't stand him. Gabs couldn't stand him, and now he's our favorite. So I don't know. Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe
over time.
So anyway, we pick at it. We watch an episode from time to time. It's good. Like, I mean, listen, it's just reality TV with the spin. Like,
of course.
You know, there's it's nice to see what they're doing. Like, you know, and I understand it's also reality TV. So who knows how much of it is scripted and how much of it is, you know.
I feel like this isn't that. I mean, it's scripted in the sense that they have to have like a runtime for an episode, but I don't think it's that aggressively scripted.
So, I mean, we're only 2 episodes deep. I'm sure the show will probably get better as they continue to, you know, do their thing. And
they all kind of, you know, fit the roles very well for sure. I went back because I used to watch the original, like Queer Eye for the, it was the full name back in like the early 2000s.
Queer Eye for the straight guy.
The straight guy. Yeah. And I went back and watched that, and I realized how shit that show was. Like, I liked it back then, but then comparing this new version, compared to the old one, like the old one, you go back, they were all pretty much, except for one of them who is now a host for the Food Network, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was the food guy in the show.
Yeah,
they're all assholes. Every single one of them were fucking assholes. And
these guys aren't assholes. These guys are really nice people.
These guys are all really fucking nice people, but the originals, oh my god, though, they're all fucking assholes. They just basically spent the whole episode shitting on this poor person, and then this new one, it's the opposite.
The thing that we started the 3rd episode, and the reason why we just didn't continue is because it felt a lot like the first episode. It was more like hillbillies, like a fucking, you know, 350-pound hillbilly. And we're just like, didn't we already, like, you know, see this sort of thing?
Yeah.
The second episode we saw reminded me a lot of Panic. I was like, oh man, it's like a fucking.
Gabs and I said the same thing. I was like, they're making Panic over in this episode.
Literally, I'm like, I couldn't. As racist as that sounds,
but it was
it's straight, just the way he is, like the way he lives, the way he talks, the way he presents himself, like everything. It was like, holy fuck, am I watching? It was
really weird. It was really weird because they were almost identical. It was a really
that was a
crazy
good
moment.
Was a good episode. That was a good episode, and the first one we enjoyed. So we'll continue to get at it. It's not like one of those binge shows that we have to like watch.
Of course.
But yeah, we've been watching The Ranch quite a bit too. I've been loving The Ranch, which is like it's Ashton Kutcher and
Gabs really likes that. I watched a couple episodes with her.
Yeah. So it's like it's basically a lot of the cast from the 70s show made another show about living on a ranch.
It's not bad. I find it a little too canned for me sometimes, but it's not bad. Like it's entertaining enough.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's more of a serious show. Like it talks about real serious shit, and they make it funny, but it's also serious. So I just like the fact that it's not like, oh, everybody's fucking,
and like Ashton's dad in that, like that actor who's got like who might be the manliest sounding individual on the face of the earth.
Yeah. I like him. He's cool.
He's great. I like him a lot. I can't think of his name off the top of my head as an actor, but yeah. So yeah, no, I've seen a couple of that. A show that Gabs has been watching too that I've caught bits and pieces of. Outlander is actually good. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little you know, Fabio softcore pornography love novel in spots for sure, and by in spots I mean every episode. But the show is actually entertaining. I don't hate watching it. Like if I go to bed and she's already watching it, I don't lament the fact that I have to sit there and watch this episode. I'm not like could be watching literally anything else. No, like I don't
watching Queer Eye.
No, that shit gets binged as soon as it comes out. Then we're out of episodes.
Fucking Jesus.
Now I gotta get you on Terrace House next. That's the next.
Fuck you. No, fuck you. We've been we're gonna keep watching this Jack Ryan show. It's fire, dude. The Amazon show. It's fire. So we're gonna finish that off. But so finally the last thing we've binged the fuck out of the 100. All right.
Yeah, you got to the end. We didn't watch them yet.
No, we didn't get to the end.
Oh, you didn't get to the end. Oh, okay.
No, we're on the last season.
Okay.
We're about so it's like season 5. We're on episode like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And dude, it's painful. Like
Gabs and
dude,
I are up to the last season, but we haven't started. We didn't even know the episodes got released until like, I don't know, but just before. And it was somebody in chat mentioned it at some point, and they said it was bad. They said it was bad.
No, it's real pain.
Because
like
that show was already painful, so I'm trying to envision what painful for this show means.
So the show started off okay.
Yeah.
And then it went into painful. And then it went back into, okay, I'm feeling this.
Yeah,
I'm feeling where this is going.
It rode the wave.
Like, this is bingeable. I'm binge watching this. It's like a shittier version of Lost. I'm feeling this. Okay.
Then they went underground.
And then they went underground. and then it went to shit. And now it's fucking weird. And when I think about it and I go, I can't believe we started here.
And now we're over here.
And now we're over here. And it just doesn't even make sense anymore. Characters are just fucking.
You know what it felt like to me?
It's fucked.
You know what it felt like to me? It felt like a couple of things. It felt like the writers just gave up at some point. Like they just don't. They're phoning it in hard. Like they're not getting paid enough, but they're expected to write some good shit, so they're just phoning that in bad.
Oh, it's bad, dude.
And then I think that kind of trickled in to the characters where they were getting tired of just being shit, and so they started phoning it in, and now everyone's phoning it in simultaneously.
Dude, if you haven't seen it, I honestly wouldn't even watch it. It's truly that
bad, eh?
It's hard. Like, and I'm the type of guys, like, I have dedicated like 80 hours of my life watching this show now.
Okay.
Literally. And it's hard. And I mean, it's very, I almost have to sneak it in. Like, Kayla's downstairs, like, getting bottled water or some shit. I don't know. And I'm in bed, I'm laying down, and I fucking put on the 100 and I have it on pause, waiting for her to walk in the room. And she'll walk in the room, she'll turn to the left, and she'll look at the screen, and she'll see the 100 getting ready to queue up, and she'll go, nope. Nope.
She's vetoing that shit.
Oh, she's over it. I'm over it too. Like, and thing is, I'm trying to watch it just because I'm so invested now. I'm just like, fuck.
You just want to get to the end. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I wish the show would just end. So, like, if it gets canceled after the season, I totally get it. Like, but a lot of people still watch it.
I think this is supposed to be the last season period, regardless. Like, I think this is the end.
Thank fuck, because it's really bad, dude. It's awful.
Yeah, so that was all I've been hearing, and that scared me because the show already had some pretty deep low points.
It's awful. It's awful. Stay away from it.
It's so weird that they had like it, because it's not like they changed writers. So I just can't even understand how they went from having.
I think what it is the show became successful, and they just weren't planning to have a show that was going to go this long, and they needed to crank out seasons.
Yeah,
and so they went in a direction, and it's just fucking awful.
It went in a direction. It wasn't a good direction. They just went in a direction.
And the direction was the wrong one, and they hit a brick wall, and it's all ogre now.
Hit me up with the sound of tech support.
Tech support.
Let's see what we got here. This is a completely random, but a question that hasn't been anywhere close to asked before. So, Mr. Chili Z, one of our new pledges, said, "Yo guys, Adam and Jeff, educate us. 2 questions. Pick one or both. Question 1/2. I see you guys have some dope t-shirts. So can you guys give us some tips, pros, and cons of buying clothes online versus going to the store? What is your go-to graphic tee tips, Mr. Black? You got some?
I'd never buy clothes online. Ever.
Must be nice.
The only pieces of clothing I've ever bought online ever were ugly Christmas sweaters. That's it. I've never bought a pair of shoes online. I've never bought a pair of pants online. Kayla ended up buying me a jersey online once, a basketball jersey, because it was like rare. And I used to have this Syracuse jersey that I used to wear all the time, and we ended up losing it, I think, when we moved or something. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it disappeared. and she ended up buying me one for Christmas, like that was identical, and it was used too, like it was a used fucking jersey, and this is like the only thing that I ever bought. So, I shop at basically 3 places.
Okay.
Sports Check,
Great.
which is basically, you know,
a Canadian
a
sports warehouse.
Yep. And I basically only buy Under Armour stuff or Nike. So usually like loose fitting shirts that just breathe easy, especially when I'm down here in the basement all the time. I also shop at a place called Duggar's down here, which is like a really high end, fancy clothes place
for men. There's one for women there, and there's one for men, and they're basically right next to each other on the same street.
Yes. So the stuff that I buy there is usually like Lacoste stuff that you can't buy in normal stores.
Alligators.
And Hugo Boss. And that's pretty much it. Like I'll buy my jackets from there. And the last place, what was the third one? Jack and Jones. So that's the other place I shop, which is there's one Jack and Jones here, and they're just like, you know, I buy shorts there, like summertime shorts or the odd like Jack and Jones t-shirt, and that's the show. I do not have much of a fashion sense. I don't like wearing layers too much. I'm a t-shirt and a sweater guy, and I think that's just a byproduct of my lifestyle too. Like I just want to.
You also live on the East Coast, and that's the East Coast lifestyle. No pun intended with that entire clothing brand, but it's sweaters, it's comfortable clothes because the seasons are all over the place here. You get a big mix of blue collar workers and just laborers, and people just don't give a fuck.
No.
So you come here if you're from like a big city, you come to Halifax, we look like we're a bunch of fucking scrubs. There's just a bunch of people.
And that's so true. You just don't see fancy. You don't see fancy dressed people here. It's okay occasionally.
You go to a restaurant that's fancy, that's where you see it. If you're out walking around downtown, you're not going to see that shit. You'll occasionally see some of the rich ass Asians do it because they're so used to doing it somewhere else, and so they'll be all dolled up and shit. But fuck me, I saw a lolly the other day. We were driving home, Gabs and I, and Gab spotted it. It was a fucking Japanese girl dressed in like lolly, the dress, the fucking umbrella, the whole nine. But you don't see people fancy dressing around here very often. So, you know, that's just the area, I think. It's just the East Coast is just not about that. We like to be comfortable.
Yep.
That's it. That's it. For me, I've owned 5 different pairs of jeans in the last 20 years that fit. I buy them and then I treat them like my children because it's very rare to find jeans that fit me. I'm a 33 to 34 inch waist and I have a 38 inch inseam. Those dimensions just actually don't fucking exist. So I have to find a 34, 36, which most stores around here stopped bringing in ages ago. They'll have like once in a blue moon, they'll have it. And then it has to be one of those jeans that are just cut long. You know, like jeans could vary in length with the legs, and I have to get lucky. So it's like winning the lottery twice. Does the store have jeans that are 34, 36, and then are they long? That's pretty much my 2 options. So, clothes, I hate going clothes shopping for that reason. It's very difficult for me to find clothes that fit properly for me. Because I'm tall, but I'm not huge. Even when I was jacked up, and I was like, 205 or 210, on this frame, that's not much. So you go into a store and you buy something that's built for somebody who's 6'6", but it's like they assume that the person that's 6'6" is going to weigh 285 pounds. And so jeans are huge, pants are huge, shirts and shit are just enormous in the body. It's a shit show. Buying suits is a nightmare. I can't buy shit off a rack if it's not like a t-shirt or occasionally a sweater that's longer in the arms. I usually have to stick to hoodies because the arms will fall lower. But if it's a pullover hoodie, the arms are like fucking capri pants for my arms. So for me, it's the same thing, right? I want to be comfortable, and then I also am limited without spending a fortune. I wear shirts. I still, when I was on vacation, I'm wearing a sweater I wore in high school. Like that shit stays with, as soon as it fits, the fucking shit, It's staying in my closet until it falls apart. So
At least you don't spend a lot. At least you don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes. That's the bonus.
Well, when I do spend money on clothes, it usually ends up being relatively expensive, but it's spread way apart. So, like for example, when I graduated and I was working and I had to wear suits and stuff for a while, I had to obviously go buy a bunch of dress shirts, suits, and stuff for suits, like wearing a trench coat for when it rains. You don't want to walk in a suit outside in the fucking rain. It's just a bad time. And then one for the winter. Excuse me. And each suit was like $1,000, and then I had to have a winter coat custom made because there wasn't one that fit that would go over suits. So I went to a guy who did an amazing job, but that cost me like $1,300 or something like that to have that made. So when I do have to get clothes made, or like, it's fucking expensive. So I stick to the simple shit. If I could buy stuff off the shelf, I'm not a super fashion-y guy, but I would definitely dress more than just wearing a fucking graphic t-shirt everywhere I went, if I could buy some stuff off the shelf. But I can't, so here I am, sitting in my base trade TV shirt that's been worn so much that my antiperspirant has worked into the armpits, so even though I'm not sweating right now, it looks like I'm sweating like a whore in church. You see this? I'm not even sweating. That's just my antiperspirant has worked into the shirt. So, nice. So that's where I'm at. It's just really expensive and a pain in the ass. But for my t-shirts, I do have some dope t-shirts. I have gotten lucky on Redbubble. I have that Power Ranger and Pokemon crossover. It's Charizard with the Red Ranger logo, so in the middle, instead of the Tyrannosaurus, it's Charizard. It's a fire t-shirt. It's falling apart because I've worn it so much, but that was dope, so I got that on Redbubble. It's a good place to get some. And then a lot of my clothing over the years is just literally Old Navy, because I buy graphic t-shirts. That's my collection of clothing. If you go to my closet, it's graphic t-shirts and hoodies, like you. Yep. The difference being, instead of Under Armour or Nike, it's a bunch of like Canada Day t-shirts from Old Navy.
Mine's literally Under Armour, Nike, Lacoste, Hugo Boss. That's it. That's the show, and the vast majority of it's Under Armour.
Yeah.
And what I do, I don't buy much clothes. I go out like twice a year, and I'll just go and buy myself a couple of new Under Armour shirts. That's it. I haven't bought a pair of jeans since I've been in New York, like 3.5 years ago. All my jeans, I barely wear jeans. I'm always wearing sweats. I have like 8 pairs of sweatpants, and I just fucking cycle through them. I have 30 pairs of Saks underwear. I just cycle through them. I have like 8 different Under Armour shirts, and that's the show.
Dude, I have some boxers that legitimately, I keep telling myself that after I'm done wearing them, I'll throw them out because they have holes, just like the bands like falling off and shit. And then I forget about it, and then they get washed, and I start pulling them on, and I've got half my hand is hanging outside my boxer because it's just a hole in it. Like, it's life. But it is mostly, for me, it's mostly just because it's a pain in the ass to go clothes shopping. I absolutely fucking hate it. But on the plus side, shout outs, and if you ever want some fire shit, he's still there. He's an old Greek gentleman. He's on Gotigen. It's called Vogue Menswear. You need to go and hit this guy up. You want some real shit done. I walked in. He looked at me. He wrote down my measurements, and I was like, "What? Excuse me?" And then he went, he was like, "Oh, you don't believe me?" And he walked up, and he measured me, and I'm not talking like 1 or 2 measurements. Arm thickness, wrist, like waist, chest, whole 9 yards. Wrote down, measured it, bang on, every goddamn measurement in the entire thing. He's got a hell of a coke nail. But my God, if he didn't make some dope shit. I asked him, I said, if I'm going to spend money on this, give me the most expensive ass wool that you've got. He pulled out some Italian wool, soft as a baby's ass. I gave him a picture, like this low grade ass picture of I can't remember if it was the first or second Craig movie. It's at the end of the movie, and he's out in the snow at the very end of the movie talking to somebody. He's got this, one of the sexiest winter fucking wool jackets on I've ever seen in my life. And I said, I want that jacket to go over top of my suits. He said, done. Walked away, came back in a few days. mortgaged the house I didn't have, and then just bought this thing, and it's my most prized possession in my closet, which means I've worn it like 4 times. But definitely go check that out. You want to get done up real well? He is an absolute fucking god. Next question. What do we got here? Also from Mr. Chili, because he's calling this a new segment where he asks us to educate the people at home. Diet plans are a multi-million-dollar industry. Yes, they are. Actually, I'd say billion at this point. dollar industry.
For sure.
What are the signs of a diet plan that someone is following is a scam?
You're not losing weight.
That's definitely, it's either they have no discipline or it's a shitty fucking diet plan for sure.
I suppose.
I'm going to say the biggest sign that it's a scam is that it's asking you to cut out something entirely. Remove it in 100%. Go to the ends of the earth to remove it entire. 0 carbs. Atkins diet. Fuck carbs. Get that shit out of your system.
Rip.
No 0 gluten even though you're not celiac. Just fucking get that shit out of there. There's no anything like that. Get all of that. No, that's usually a sign that they're just shitting you. It doesn't mean that some people don't do better when they remove that stuff, but if they're selling it to the masses, like if this is some shit on radio and they're sending it to thousands and thousands and thousands or millions of people, it's not going to apply to that many people. It's just fucking not going to do it. So, that's my number one for sure. And honestly, they're all kind of scammy in the first place because they change as often as the winds do. Like just every
they got to. They make more money if it's the same diet forever. They're gonna give out
the
information once and then that's it, right? So there's always this new bullshit thing. Just fucking eat healthier, exercise, and just eat less than you're putting in your body. And guess what? You're gonna lose weight.
It's a shocking development, I know, but when you burn more calories than you
intake, you're gonna lose weight.
Then you lose weight.
There's actually unless you have some sort of serious
you have a thyroid problem or something like that.
There's some serious condition that whatever, but for the most part,
that's pretty much it.
That's the show. There's really no other crazy science behind it. In fact, you can go ahead and eat you can go ahead and eat pizza, fucking Doritos and Mountain Dew.
I wouldn't suggest it, but you can.
I wouldn't suggest it. I mean, once in a while is fine.
But you can.
But you know what? You could eat that shit every day.
Lose weight.
And lose weight if you're burning more than you're bringing in. It's really quite that simple. If you're eating 3,000 calories worth of pizza, you better burn 3,000 plus in calories in the run of a day, or you're going to gain weight. You burn more, you're going to lose weight. It's really just that simple. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I
mean, for me, if you're looking for more specific shit, for me, my diet advice is very simple. Okay, eat more fruit and vegetable than you probably already do. That's gonna be pretty accurate for most people that are looking for some form of diet. Is odds are they're just not flat out eating enough vegetables and fruit. Eat variety. Get it. Look. Even if you're a little if you're a little homophobic, eat the fucking rainbow.
Eat some fruit.
Eat the fucking rainbow. Get that shit going.
Let's move on to the next one. We've answered this guy's 2 questions now.
Yes.
All right. Eat less than what or burn more than what you're putting in your body. There it is. There's your scam. There's your non-scam. All right. There it is.
Done.
You don't need to go on keto or speedo or Hito or fajitos or Doritos.
Speedo.
Just eat cleaner and exercise, and you'll lose weight.
Nobe asks, $110 lifetime support, by the way. Let's go. Keeping it simple. It's a hot take, Jeff. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Is a hot dog a taco?
No.
It's tough. I think it's close. I think a hot dog is closer to a taco than it is to a sandwich, personally. Because really, if you think about it, in form, it's slightly heavier bread wrapping meat in the exact same function that a taco does. But it's a soft taco, not a hard taco. But hard tacos are bullshit American crap anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I think it's closer to a taco than a sandwich, personally.
Okay. I'm going sandwich.
But then people say, but haven't you ever had a hot dog wrapped in bread? I say, yes, absolutely. I'm all about that ghetto life, about wrapping a hot dog and not having buns and just wrapping it in some bread. Yes. Doesn't make it a sandwich, though.
No, it doesn't.
It just
makes it a hot dog with bread.
Now, if you take 2 pieces of bread
and put it between a hamburger bun,
and put that between
a hamburger patty,
like you now you're talking about a sandwich.
Now it's a sandwich. Absolutely.
There you go. Ooh. Black Jimmy asks. Black Jimmy is one of our god tier $250 current pledge, $725 lifetime support.
Fucking go.
If you could see the last season of Game of Thrones tomorrow, but couldn't talk about it to anyone, or else you would be smothered to death by George R.R. Martin's face sitting, would you watch it?
No. I feel like Game of Thrones is one of those things that you have to experience with other people. I
agree.
I think it's one of those shows that I would appreciate it and I'd feel very privileged. But it would kill me to not be able to talk to people, or if people knew I watched it, to not leak any type of spoilers or give hints or anything like that. And that's just part of the fun of Game of Thrones. It's so crazy that you know, for the night of, you kind of you just drop everything, and if you can't watch it that same night, you drop off the internet. Like you're out of it. You're not checking your Twitter feed, your Facebook, nothing. You're not even looking at strangers. Like when you're walking through the grocery store, you got your fucking headphones on, and you got clothes back, so you're not hearing anybody talk about anything. And then like you could wake up first thing in the morning and you'll watch the Game of Thrones to get that shit out the way. And the fact that you wouldn't be able to take part in the event that is Game of Thrones, I couldn't do it. I'd gladly wait another year to be able to experience it with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It's not even a tough decision, really.
Like, I agree, because I think that the Game of Thrones, like you said, is definitely something to be experienced with other people. I think if you take that experience away, the show
it's not the same.
The show's not as good. The same.
Now, if it was like, okay, I'll let you watch Star Wars Episode 9 or something, and you can't say anything, I'd watch it just because I'd be like, sure, I want to see it, I'm interested, and it's nothing for me not to say anything. Even though Star Wars is still kind of an event, it's not as Game of Thrones, man. It's not Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones, it's just not Game of Thrones.
That's true.
I'm waiting, Jimmy. And plus, I don't want to actually leak something and have George R.R. Martin's
bad way to go.
It's a horrible way to go.
You don't want him sitting on you, bro. No. Let alone your face.
No, thank you.
That is unfortunate. And not only that, he'd probably not have the fucking guts to finish it, just like his books. Duke asks, 180 lifetime support or $10 current pledge. Let's go, Duke.
Thank you, Duke.
It's 2019 and you are the world's most famous and beloved person. You wake up one morning and have a terrible wood chipper accident where all that's left of you is your head. That is a horrible accident, really. That's actually, it can't get much worse than that, honestly. Head transplants are totally a thing surgeons can do in 2019. That's great news for next year. Any person of your choosing will gladly donate their body to you. Which celebrity would you pick to transplant your head onto? I will say that any celebrity over time, it doesn't have to be a living celebrity right now, any celebrity over time. Whose body do you swap?
I'm going with Mandingo. Give me that dick.
What the? I don't want that shit.
I want to hurt a bitch.
Yeah, you gotta hurt yourself just to get hard, for God's sake. Holy fuck. All right, okay, fair ball. I'm going to go with Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport. Give me that body. I want that specific vintage of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Shit, I'll take Jean-Claude Van Damme right now. You give me, you give me that body right now. I'll still take that. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But if it has to be somebody today, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, he's jacked.
He's just jacked.
I'll go if
He's
I had to
jacked.
pick. If I had to pick somebody today, I'd probably go with Michael B. Jordan. He is fucking yoked too.
So white and black Superman is what you're telling me right now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Light versus dark.
Light versus dark. Oh my God, that's what we need right now in 2019. Superman versus Superman. Race wars. White versus black. Who wins? That's what we need. Duke
right,
also
one
asks. All right. Well, let me read the other ones just in case they're better. Let me see.
So I am getting hungry.
All right.
Last podcast, I legitimately went and barbecued burgers after the podcast.
Let's go. There's nothing wrong with that. You're a grown ass man. You can do that shit.
I might do it again.
Gownson asks, 170 lifetime, by the way. $10 current pledge. Let's go. Basically $10 since we started this podcast.
Let's fucking go, dude.
You have the power to conjure up an amazing weekly podcast that you can listen to. I'm guessing that this is other than this podcast, because obviously that's exactly what we're talking about. What is it about? Who is on the show? And what would you choose to ask them once a week in the comment section? So what's your dream podcast, basically, I guess?
Okay, one more time. Go
so the short version is you want to create your dream weekly podcast. Who's on it, and what would you ask them in the comment section? So, like, what's the podcast about? Who's on said podcast, and what would you ask them?
Okay, so it's not my podcast.
No, it's just just like your dream podcast. Like if you had the ability to just snap your fingers and make a podcast happen with whoever you wanted about whatever you wanted, what would it be?
Damn. Fuck.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. You know, I'm gonna go Joe Rogan.
Okay.
So his podcast.
Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be an existing podcast, but we can go with that, I guess.
Well, I like Joe Rogan's pod.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a better pod. I can think of a better podcast. And I would say his guest is Barack Obama.
Okay.
And the question I would ask, so I have to ask him a question. What I would ask,
or you're just like, you know, what if you were in the audience and you could ask a question?
Has there ever been, fuck, man, I'd like to ask Barack Obama if he smoked weed.
I think the answer to that would be immediately yes.
Yes, yeah.
I think the odds of him not having done that are pretty slim.
Yeah. I guess like I would love to ask him if aliens if because the first thing
Area 51.
Yeah, like I not like he'd ever tell you, but I mean have we discovered intelligent life? Because who knows?
Yeah.
I think Barack Obama on a podcast like Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan would just ask him these like really not tough questions, but fun questions that like typically normal interviewers wouldn't ask him. Like, because Joe would get high and just be like, you know, tell me, Brock, like, you know,
Joe represents some weird everyman, right? That has so much time to smoke weed and think about shit that he can run a good podcast. That's and he's been a host in the past, so he has the hosting history. And then you give him a bunch of weed, and then have him sit there and think about it for a while, and he gets to ask some really good questions because of it, which is great. Joe is a more intelligent person than most people would give him credit for. So I would, if I was putting together a podcast, I would choose Joe as well. But Joe is the guy who's the moderator. He's the guy at the head that keeps all the, that makes it all happen. Because just for that reason, I think he represents the average person who perhaps has more time to think about some things than some other people do, and he just does a good job of it. And then I think if this was like a weekly podcast and I wanted permanent guests, for me, I would want I would want Michio Kaku, the theoretical physicist. I would want let's see. Oh. I would put Neil deGrasse Tyson on there too. Just because I think Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse would bump heads, and I think it'd be entertaining. So I would put those two on there. I'd like a sciencey podcast.
I'm sure that probably already exists. I'm probably sure that there's probably already like an interview or a podcast, because Neil deGrasse has his own podcast.
Yeah, but get those two there, and then if I could throw a third person in,
Adam's just throwing people in.
It would be, well, I was saying like a 4-man podcast, right? Which isn't like wildly out of the norm. It's not like crazy out of the norm. So Joe is representing the everyman. He's spearheading the show. Then you got Neil deGrasse, you got Michio Kaku, you've got the last. I need another perspective. Let's go with let's go with Elon Musk.
All right.
Because he represents the corporate entrepreneur side of things and his view of the world. And then my question that I would ask them would be, what does should humanity make it another 1,000 years and not blow ourselves up in 1,000 years? What does humanity look like from a cultural perspective and from a technological perspective? What do you guys think that looks like? What does Earth look like in 1,000 years if we don't blow the fuck out of each other between now and then? Because I think they would all have a relatively different take. Some from the super sciencey, the physicist perspective, what technology they think would be within the realm of possibility. Elon with his mind never shutting the fuck up, just constant ideas about everything. Because those two worlds come together at some point, right? You've got the forever inventor entrepreneur, and then the reality of what we understand from the physics world, and they collide. And then Joe's just there getting fucking blasted, asking some questions. I think that's how that, because Joe would sit there and he'd come up with what like a lot of normal people would come up with, what they think.
Yeah.
And so it would be a good example of that. And then the other guys would just be rolling on some crazy shit. It'd blow Joe's mind. Did you watch the Elon Musk?
Of course I did.
Elon Musk one.
Oh, yeah.
Elon Musk. I think people wildly misunderstand just how crazy of a mind Elon Musk has. Like, he might not be some sort of, it's not like he's Albert fucking Einstein, but he's definitely a guy who can't turn his brain off. Like, the shit's just going on full tilt the whole fucking time. And for better or worse. And I think the funniest shit that I saw, it was the reaction to him taking a single fucking hit.
It wasn't even a big hit either.
It wasn't. It was like
he basically
he took a small hit of that blunt.
Puff. Yeah, he took a small, like, he did a big puff, but he dragged, inhale. But he like did a tiny
like a
little
cigar.
Yeah.
He got he treated it almost like a cigar. And I'm not saying Ellen, I'm saying like
it's Elon.
It's if you want to really get like super, it's Elon or some shit. Sorry, my accent fucks it. I apologize for my accent. My bad. I'm calling him Ellen DeGeneres from now on just to fuck with you. So when Ellen DeGeneres took a big drag off that blunt, and then he starts getting blown up by his friends on his cell phone like 30 seconds later, I was like, this is fucking weird, man. Like, come on now. Like, is it really? But at the same time, it's crazy to watch the world come down on him. Like, he's like, Tesla's gonna die. The whole company is gonna blow up.
No,
he's not professional. It's all right. It's like, just let this guy do his thing.
Legal, and it was legal where they were at, too.
It's whatever.
Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but you know how people are, right?
Oh,
He's literally a fucking genius, and you can tell just by looking at him that
people
the
would be
gears
like,
are constantly turning.
He's just fucking making all this shit up as he goes along. He's not as smart as he thinks. Bitch,
no, he's actually pretty fucking smart.
If you think you've got Ellen DeGeneres beat, you go out there and you fucking make Tesla. Because here's the thing, even if Tesla fails, I want you to take into consideration the cultural impact that he has had in the businesses he's been a part of. Regardless of whether or not he started from nothing because he had a rich family to begin with, doesn't matter. Like the pressure that he's put on the auto industry in a traditional auto industry, the GMCs, the fucking whatever, the Asian manufacturer, is enormous.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's fucking huge.
Oh yeah.
So it just pisses me off when people fucking just go on about it. It's just so stupid. Like, go do something. Stop whining about him going out there and hitting a fucking blunt, and you go do it. If you think you can do it better than him, if you think you got Ellen DeGeneres beat, you go right the fuck ahead. Get out there and do you. Otherwise, they're probably, what the irony is? They were probably hitting a fucking blunt while they were saying the shit at the same time.
Of course, dude. That's just how they did. And you know what? The vast majority of the internet was like, "This is fucking cool, man. The fuck are you smoke? What are you guys smoking?"
Yeah, exactly.
Chill the fuck out. He's on Joe Rogan. He took a little tiny hit of a blunt. Was the smallest hit ever. People were like, people at Tesla like resigning and shit. They're like, "I'm fucking done here." The stock crashes like 10%. People were just like, "You guys are fucking stupid." Elon
just
don't give
wild.
a fuck, bro.
No,
Elon
bro.
doesn't give a fuck.
No, he sleeps for 5 minutes a day. He wakes up and then he just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Mars soon
because nobody else will.
So we'll see how that goes.
I'm gonna make I like that the Boring Company was a joke. I remember when he tweeted that and somebody said, "You should do that." And he said, "Oh, okay." And he did it. And now he's making money on it. Like, he sold like $10 million worth of flamethrowers. Like, just fuck off. Like, if you're sitting at home with your dick in your hand, fucking watching your 50th friggin', mecha anime and eating Cheetos, stop trying to chew out friggin' Ellen DeGeneres. All right? Get off Ellen's dick. All right. I think that's it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We've hit a beautiful conclusion. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate everyone continuing to watch this dumpster fire. We'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.
With more. Let me hit up our patrons as always. We did big things on that World Vision hype. What's our total sitting at? We're over 20,000?
Oh yes. We are at $21,661. We still have a bunch of games to post up. I've been posting up a bunch of them, so yeah, we should be fully, all the tournament stuff will be done this month, and then it'll probably take us to the second week of October to get out the rest of the stuff from our last event, and then we will do our Win Cheese Fails. We'll start doing all that fun stuff.
Brace for impact. Ladies and gentlemen, shout-outs as always to Jetrix. Black Jimmy, who's now hanging with Jetrix and Postal Panda. He stepped up. That's a new $250 monthly payment. Hot damn.
Yep.
I just realized something. Jetrix isn't even $250. He's at $300.
Oh, man.
Didn't even have to. It's like above. Damn. Just fuck it. Just,
you know, I'm hoping that once we change all the Patreon stuff and we bring back some StarCraft related stuff and we get LAGTV on board, then we can alleviate some of the heavy burden of some of these nerd ballers here.
Exactly. Exactly.
We'll get some love from people outside of the podcast, but they'll be able to support us to make StarCraft content again, or maybe a playthrough. Maybe we'll fucking do another Resident Evil or some Mario Party for the Switch.
Oh God, can you? Let's not play Resident Evil again. Let's not do that. But
if that Patreon level's high enough, you better.
So that's very true. Matt M, Hockey Psycho, Chico, Martin K, Toad of Steel, Jorbach, Jamaican Jazz, Adam B, Derek P, Sam R, Gamecock Toss, Mr. Meow Geek, Soft Shoe, Will, and Caius, several thousand other people at this point. Bless you, each and every one of you, new and old. You are the fuel that keeps this dumpster fire going. Just keep dumping it on. Because nobody can look away from a dumpster fire. It's a scientifically proven fact. And that's going to help us continue to put food in our mouths. And eventually, food in Jeff's child's mouth. It's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for stopping by and listening. Or if you're on iTunes, you can head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to become part of the supported cast. And until next week, thank you once again. Peace! Peace.